first. Everybody hates you, and I'm glad your husband died. He probably killed himself.
Well, hello, knuckleheads. Hang on a sec. Good to see everybody. I appreciate you being here. This is, it's not really a news show. What the fuck is going on? Hang on. See, it's all the same. I always fuck this shit up. It's not really a news show so much as it is, we're going to do call-ins today. People have been asking for a while to put the red phone on. So the red phone is live. I'll give you the number in just a second. And I'll give you the number now, but the red phone's not on yet. So if you want to call in and talk about pretty much anything, we can do that. We can do that either on Discord or if you call 619-786-3431. But again, not turned on yet. So what's going on? How is everybody? Here's what's on my mind as it relates to video games. Again, we don't have to stick with video games, but that's where we're going to start our journey. I'm thinking, this video I made about God of War, and it's gotten some traction and stuff in terms of people. I'm trying to get better at this. I'm trying not to respond to every single comment on YouTube where people are just like totally misconstruing the things I said and totally just putting their own shit on me, which I'm like, what? So that's on my mind. I want to talk about Sony's patent. We've talked about it on a previous Gavin and Games show, but I'm seeing a lot more news about it, and gamers actually seem to be upset by it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. Alex in the chat says, Jaffe, we love you, man. Can you show us love too? I love you guys right back. This goes out to you. I can't help but be racist. It's true. Yeah, it's totally true. But what I will tell you is you're right. It's always easier to jump into the pool with the bad guys and get revenge if you can, fight them. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. A lot of people totally get what I was saying, and I appreciate that. So why do people care if a creator critiques his creation, says PK99? I don't know. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind if they don't like my opinion. The thing that really bothers me about it is that they come at me and they're trying to say, they're trying to, first off, I was an English major. I've been writing screenplays and studying screenplays and writing since I was in like grade school. Doesn't mean I'm very good at it, but I understand character arcing and I understand the value of a character changing over the course of a story, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I'm trying to explain something a little bit more nuanced than these folks, which is, of course, there are mediums and there are certain pieces of entertainment within any medium that merit a character arc of meaningfulness and significance. And I also appreciate that there's a lot of people who, whether they grew up or not, I mean, that's a whole different kettle of fish, that drives me nuts. This whole idea of, oh, I was a child, now I'm mature. Fuck off. But, you know, regardless of that, the idea of certain entertainment properties can only sustain so much growth before they no longer are those entertainment properties. And that doesn't mean it's bad. And that doesn't mean that if you like the new Gods of War better than the olds, or if you never liked the olds at all and you adore the news, I think that's great. I'm not suggesting the new ones are bad. I've said over and over and over that 2018's God of War is just it was excellent. One of my favorite games that year. I just started Valhalla yesterday, but I'm loving it. Didn't like Ragnarok so much as a story, but it was clearly a great game in terms of how it was produced and made. And all I was saying in my video was like some entertainment properties aren't meant to be. I mean, Wolverine's a great example. The Hulk's a great example. Yeah, there are stories where they kind of swish around their arc, but Wolverine is Wolverine, right? And if suddenly, there's even Old Man Wolverine, and it doesn't mean that Old Man Wolverine hasn't changed in the comics. And if you haven't read that run or that miniseries, it's excellent. It doesn't mean he hasn't changed in the comics. He's still Wolverine. He's a little wiser, a little grayer, but he's still the essence of, you're not reading Old Man Wolverine and ultimately what happens is he thinks he's mature and he loses his shit again and he goes back to being who he really is, right? It's not like you buy Old Man Wolverine and all this shit happens to him and he's just like, meh, because that's not Wolverine. That's not Wolverine. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm turning on the red phone. Where did this guy go? He says, thank you, Ahmad. He says, much love from Lebanon. Thank you for calling or hanging out with us for so far away. You're more than welcome. Ask me whatever. That's what today's episode is about. Let's just shoot the shit. Okay. Look at Miyamoto with Mario. He doesn't let anyone screw around with his creation. Well, again, it's not my creation. It's our creation. I have absolutely no problem that, and I've been very supportive of the studio when they made changes. Not that they needed my support at all, but publicly and privately, I'm like, hey, this is really good. I think it's cool. I've been very complimentary of what Corey did. I think it was necessary, even though I think, you know, where they left him at the end of Corey's great game was a character that I felt was no longer compelling. Because think about this. Think about the great characters and stories who do arc and change. Think about Darth Vader. Darth Vader had, you know, before, you know, let's just take the 3 movies, but he had the 3 movies, Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, where he was the Darth Vader we loved. And at the very end, he was redeemed. Okay, cool. Excellent. Great. That's one story. The last thing I want to do is watch a movie about old man Vader who's just like, everything's great now. Right? That's all I'm saying. You can't comment on what Kratos is now if you haven't fully seen his new story. I can comment on whatever the fuck I want, Eric. I've played 2018. I played a lot of Valhalla, and I've watched the end cutscenes of Valhalla, which I loved. And I played, God, who knows how many hours, but I probably played about 17 hours of Ragnarok. If I have to basically take a college class and meet a bunch of prerequisites in order to have an opinion, that should tell you already that, you know, something's wrong. Ace, what are you doing, you weirdo? Just relax. It's, you know. Yes, I played the PSP games. Absolutely. Old Man Rants, the new God of War has no TTs. I'm assuming you're saying T like testosterone. Did you like the story of Valhalla? We've only just begun. I'm old. I've only just begun with the story of Valhalla, but I will tell you that what I've played so far and then what I watched, the ending of it, I think is really cool. It feels more Kratosian, if you will. Somebody in the chat was saying, did I see what Corey Barlog had to say? No, I haven't talked to Corey in a very long time. But no, I didn't. Corey, I would be stunned if Corey said anything, but if he did send me a link, Corey's kind of, Corey doesn't seem to be as, he's in the spotlight when he needs to be, but maybe he did. I'd love to see it. I enjoyed Ragnarok, says Grave, and Valhalla, but I kind of get what you mean when everyone's trying to tell me Kratos how good he is while he just grunts and makes me die a little inside. Yeah, that's my whole kind of fucking thing, right? It's so, and again, I made a video about this, but Sony stuff lately, it's like somewhere along the lines, and look, I mean, I was one of the guys who laid those bricks because, God of War 1 begins with the guy killing himself. It's not like God of War 1 was a party. But somewhere along the lines, other than say Ratchet and Clank, and I'm trying to think of any other ones that are narrative based, you could kind of say Returnal probably doesn't fit in this, but even like Jin Sakai with, Tsushima, it's like everybody seems to want to make some heavy Oscar bait thing. And I think Oscar bait is great. I love The Last of Us Part 2. I love God of War 2018. But my God, does everybody, it's like the portfolio is so weighed down with just such heaviness. And, even the last Uncharted 4, it wasn't that it was heavy like Last of Us, but it was like, where's the swashbuckle? Where's the high adventure? Where's that shit, Anyway, let me make something clear to you. 619-786-3431. If you want to call and talk live or put yourself in the Discord call-in waiting room, and you can come on the show and, give me what you think. That's interesting. Eddie Torres says we need Bloodborne 2 already. Even Bloodborne, which was a goddamn delight in terms of like, I would rather spend time with the characters who live in Bloodborne, that, disease-ridden Dickensian nightmare world, than hang out with Kratos for more than 20 minutes. Because at least Valhalla, he's better though. But like, a little Kratos these days goes a long way. As my ex-wife used to say, he's a lot. It's just like, my God, man. Here, have some of my Zoloft. I'm more than happy to lend it to you. Gamer says everybody needs to be a hero nowadays. Yeah, I think being a hero is great. But, oh yeah, okay, interesting. Arathizel, who's contrarian Arathizel, says this from the guy who hated Aloy, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, I did. I do. Because I thought those games were really fucking boring. Everything's got to be a goddamn, look at my expression. The best art, the artist isn't seen. The art is seen, and the artist is seen through the art. Oh my God, a call is coming in. Let's see who's on the show. What's up? It's Jaffe. How's it going?
Hey, Mr. Jaffe, this is Brandon. Just real quick, because I know the phone line's busy. We're at Santa Monica Studio with God of War because I feel like the focus was more on gameplay. And it seems like outside of Nintendo, a lot of developers, especially Western developers, they focus on movies.
Yeah.
And they use gameplay as an excuse or as filler. And they focus on cutscenes. But I feel like when God of War was, from the past, I felt was so much better.
Well, listen, I don't disagree with that to some extent. I mean, I did think the gameplay in... can you guys not hear this guy? Let me know if you guys couldn't hear him. He was basically saying that he liked the older God of Wars because he seems to think a lot of game developers other than Nintendo these days focus a lot on making movies and cutscenes and all that shit. And I don't think he's wrong. What I wonder about when it comes to that is, I understand that, people like turn up my mic. That people like the their games to have more meat on the bone when it comes to story and all that, and I agree. I agree, but I think it's gone too lopsided now. And frankly, to be honest with you, this is more Sony than Xbox. And that's not because Xbox doesn't want to do it. Xbox has said they would like to have their own Last of Us. They just don't have, frankly, they don't have the talent yet. Maybe they do with the people they've acquired, but they've never indicated that they've are able to pull that off. But Xbox's games don't seem so fucking depressed. Sony's games seem like they're all greenlit by a handful of people that are depressed as fuck and are just like, and to be perfectly fair, the new Valhalla so far doesn't have that, which is why I'm enjoying the shit out of it, honestly. But anything else, caller?
No, that's about it.
All right, buddy. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Good point. See you, dude. Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, somebody's like, oh, well, the old video games, the old God of War games had cutscenes. I'm not saying the cutscenes are problematic. I'm saying too much of wanting to be a storyteller. And look, I get it. A lot of the fucking Sony audience out there now, you see this. A lot of them are saying shit like, well, I want, I've literally seen people on the internet say story is more important to them in video games than gameplay, or the interactive aspect of it. And I'm just like, why are you playing a game then? It's one of the worst storytelling mediums out there, at least at the moment. When you do it with cutscenes compared to the gameplay, you should just go watch a fucking TV series. Rambling Entertainment, thank you, buddy. 11 months subbing to the show. I appreciate it. He says, my issue with current games was the simplification of the gameplay and enemies. An over-focus on another Last of Us than actually providing a fun game. I'm going to get back to that. Let me get this call, and then I will get to that message, Rambling. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Okay. First time, long time. Okay.
Gotcha.
I think the part that was important to me about playing through Valhalla and Ragnarok, because I did love Ragnarok, but Valhalla emphasizes calling back to the elements and the story parts of the past games where you have to interact with the game itself to make the event happen. So it's like, I don't want to spoil anything. Just stuff happens in Valhalla that you put yourself, like it's reenacting a scene that you do in the first God of War game.
Oh, I got to that last night. Right.
So it's like in most games you play the game to get to the cutscenes, but in Valhalla you're like maybe emotionally tied to the actions because you, the player, are actually doing the thing. So like the hug in God of War 1.
Right.
Which
was all Corey, by the way. That was his idea, and I thought it was one of the most brilliant moments of God of War 1. I mean, I'm into that. I love that. But it's not even, but it's almost like a different comment, or it's a different issue. The issue of saying, can you tell story through gameplay, and when you can, is it more powerful? I absolutely agree. I think the issue is what kinds of stories that Sony's portfolio seems obsessed with telling. It's not Valhalla though. Somebody in the chat says Valhalla. Christian says DLC plays like the old games. I agree. I absolutely agree. And it can't have been easy for Eric Williams on Ragnarok, because Eric was the guy that really breathed life, along with Corey and Derek Daniels and Richard Fogey and a handful of other people, Mehdi Yusuf, into the combat. And so, coming off of 2018 and being given the sequel to direct, I would struggle going, wait, what does the audience want then? And maybe I think Eric probably just went a little too far afield with all the kind of angst and shit. And I also think, frankly, I have never hated Atreus like a lot of people, but now that he's gone in Valhalla, I'm like, oh my God, that's part of the reason. The first game I could put up with him because it was novel. In the second game, I'm just like, dude, you're not compelling of enough of a character to co-lead a game. It would be like having Harrison Ford in his prime, and then, your insurance salesman who sells you car insurance. He's like, I want to be an actor. Fine, put him in there. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, man. Atreus is at best a bit player. Why the fuck was he made the star? You could have made that kid badass, but I don't think they did. Anyway, I appreciate the thought, caller, and you're absolutely right. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Let me get back real quick before I turn on the chat again, the phone again, to the super chat from Rambling. Rambling says, my issue with current games is the simplification of the gameplay and the enemies, an over-focus on another Last of Us than actually providing a fun game. Well, again, I mean, I don't agree with that entirely. I think God of War 2018 was a great deal of fun to play. I finished it, which says a lot. Ragnarok had its moments in the gameplay. I thought they had wonderful puzzle design in that game. The combat obviously was really cool and fun, but certainly there was a, think about this for a minute. Now I know the cutscene team and the AI team or the enemy AI team, you know, everybody's kind of siloed these days, but I would imagine there was some kind of, whether it was ever written on a whiteboard or just in Eric's mind or Yumi's mind or whatever, there was some kind of budget that said, if you want more variety of enemies, or if you want that gigantic boss that you really, really want, that's cool. But let's say you got to cut out the section with Atreus just wandering. I didn't even get to it, but people were like, he's with a reindeer, and it just goes on and on and on. And I remember saying this at some Santa Monica, it's like, to me, I would have gone with the boss. And what they said to me, the Santa Monica person, was they said, yeah, Santa Monica these days, you know, story comes first. And if it's important to the story, that's usually going to win out. And I just think that's bad, man. And I think that game suffers because of that mandate or I don't know if it's a mandate, but it suffers. Okay. Eddie T says, to be honest, the new God of War games are too long. I agree. I played through the old games multiple times. I didn't have the desire. Yeah, they're slow. They're slow in places. Certainly Ragnarok, but the Valhalla is not so far. Digging it. STT podcast represents. He has the little emoji. The guy going, ay ay ay. It represents one of the things I find most frustrating about internet culture and social media, which is people have no problem responding to what someone is saying in a negative, but they seem to have a real hard time articulating it. And so they think they get a free pass to sharing their opinion. And it's just as meaningful as the person that they're kind of laying into, but they don't do any work. If it's an I, that's cool, but why? What am I saying that merits that emoji? Don't just put the emoji. Geesh, thank you for the super chat. He says the new games are too eager to spoon feed its audience story. I think that's, you know, that's what they're about. I mean, and clearly the audience loves them. People will not stop saying, oh, let me get back to that. Let me get this call first. Well, hello, it's Jaffe. How's it going?
Hello, Jaffe. Is this working?
It is working great. You might need to talk a little bit louder, though.
Yeah, okay. So I have a comment about the latest Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
I have not played the DLC. Unfortunately, I need some vacation time to do it. But in Ragnarok, what I realized is the game is very cheerful and very easy. It's as if it was designed for game reviewers, at least the main story. However, if you go and explore, then you see lots of additional areas. There is an entire section, which could be like a long game by itself. Mm-hmm. That's entirely optional. And there are big boss fights like the dragons and other stuff that you have to seek out. But if you just follow the main story, everything is cheerful except two downer events. I will not go into those details.
Right. So are you saying you liked Ragnarok a great deal, or do you feel it was not as good as 2018?
So I liked the game, but only after doing the extra exploration. If I only did the main story, yeah, it would be less than the 2018 version.
Right. The guy in the chat, V, says Ragnarok's main story was slow if you follow the main story. I agree. I think they, and again, I can't fathom, because I've not met one person that talks about that long Atreus area and goes, I love that part. I've seen nothing. Even people who love Ragnarok have laid in to that. And so I just can't imagine nobody at the studio was like, what are we doing? This is incredibly boring. The focus test couldn't have been like, we love it. I would love to know that. I would love to know sort of what Santa Monica was thinking with that section. Brody Lau says that's where I dropped off. But anyway, yeah, I hear you and I appreciate the call. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Would you have approved the shoulder camera implemented in 2018 in Ragnarok? Well, I was very happy to learn, Ahmad, that playing what I've played so far of Valhalla, the camera is actually pulled back. Here's what I think, and I have no evidence. I am just shooting the shit and spitballing. But here's what I think. I think that the two directors, Bruno and I forget the other guy's name, who made this one, I get the sense they read the chat and the social media and they read the NeoGAF and the reset era and they're like, okay, we may have gone a little bit too far with Ragnarok in terms of sort of, it was a little too heavy, a little too somber, you know? So I like that I'm seeing those changes in this one. And I don't know if those guys are directing the next mainline God of War, if there even is one. I'm sure there is. But if it's based off of their philosophies that we see in Valhalla, I'm much more excited. But I do like in Valhalla how the camera's pulled back a little. And frankly, there's no reason that camera could not pull back at times based on the combat scenario. I mean, it may affect the combat in a way that real hardcore people wouldn't like. It's like, it's impossible to do this juggling move from that angle, especially since I've got the timing down from over. I mean, I'm sure those things are true. But I think from a general gameplay standpoint, there are times where I would very much like to see that camera pull back, but not all the time. Not all the time, not at all. Let me bring this guy in. Wait, did I get this one? If I missed anything, I'm sorry. Oh, here we go. They're too eager to spoon feed, says Geesh. Yeah, I mean, there really is this audience that has shown up for Sony games. And I fear, as I'm sure Sony does, that not only do they love their story, but they love their graphics. And those are the two things that makes games so fucking expensive, or two of the main things. But, it seems like a lot of people want to fucking make movies and not games. And I get it. I'm not saying that's bad. I love a lot of the Sony games. I love 2018. I love Last of Us Part 2. I'm not saying these are not games that should exist. Not that I would ever do that anyway. I'm just saying that, my God, does everybody have to make that kind of game? And then does everybody have to make that kind of game and on top of it with that kind of tone? And don't come at me with like Gran Turismo and Returnal. I know. I have every Sony first-party game ever released on PS5 except the goddamn Gran Turismo because it's not my cup of tea. I get it. It's not myopic like that. But it may as well be because the games people talk about, the games that sell great, that matter, even Spider-Man 2. Now, I loved Miles Morales. I thought Miles Morales was fucking excellent. I thought it was better than the first Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, I love. But even that, and I get it, Peter Parker, the suit, makes him angry, brings out his worst, but I'm just like, my God, guys, Miles Morales was like a breath of fucking fresh air because it was like, yeah, there was some drama and some pathos and some angst, but it was like, Jesus fucking Christ, somebody unclenched. Everything's not so goddamn serious, That's what I would fucking say. Grave Digger, thank you for being a member for 6 months. He says, hey, thanks for all the great streams lately, Jaffe. Very entertaining and fun. Thank you, sir. Cabinet Games feels like a warm blanket, especially with the high-tech snow. Listen, no one's got snow like I do. We understand. Colin Moriarty has the biggest audience. Greg Miller and the boys have the best production. You got people out there that are giants doing this, and I'm just a little peapod, but I'll tell you something. Nobody got snow like I do. Take that to the goddamn bank. I'm going to bring in, what's happening? Oh my God, you're running like something broke. The charger is maybe by the bathroom? I don't know. You had it earlier. Anyway, I'm streaming, so that's not it, man. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Jaffe, man?
I'm talking to my kid, and I'm drinking a drink and hanging out. What's going on?
Hell yeah, man. I just want to say it was awesome last night watching you stream. And that moment when you got to the first grease part and that big grin on your face when all the old enemies came out
Oh my god!
and all
Man. I
that.
loved it.
That was it.
I loved
Yeah.
it. And when I saw the trailer at the Game Awards, I saw the Cyclops, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?" And then it was absolutely wonderful. God, it really is like seeing old friends to see those guys come out of the ground and see them do the head shake that they did in the first game. Just really cool, really clever, and it reminds me of, like, let's just say this: whoever the guiding influence. I know Corey is credited with being the creative supervisor.
Right.
And then Bruno and this other guy are credited as the directors, and then obviously the same writers from Ragnarok. I think this game is lighter. It still has its angst so far, but it's funnier too. Like there's a scene where Kratos gets Helios, the head, and Helios says something like, geez, man, not even a hello, whatever. And Kratos is just like, hello, Helios. And he gets on with it, right? But it was like, oh, okay. That's a funny joke in context. It didn't seem forced, but it was genuinely just like, it has this kind of great feel to it that I hope they carry over into the next game. So, but I appreciate you watching it last night. I had a lot of fun. I'll be streaming it more very, very soon.
Yeah, that was great to see. Real quick on the topic, and then
Yep.
I'll jump out of here.
Yep.
When old versus new Kratos, I know a lot of us, especially that have been on the channel for a while. We're old fans. We've played all the games. I think the one thing, it's like, obviously all the games are great. The new games are great. Even Ragnarok, though I kind of agree with you, it's a little slow pacing up front. But I think that the issue is when you do old versus new, the thing that always stuck out to me is when I go back and play those old games, God of War 1, God of War 2, that Kratos, I just don't ever see him being a father, right? He just seems like he's going to go do what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, he was a father before the game even
right,
started.
Right.
But you mean
right.
once he became Kratos, the Kratos guy?
Right.
Sure. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that Kratos has birthed. It's not like birth control was pretty, big back then. There's little mini Kratoses running all over ancient Greece, and I'm pretty sure other pantheons as well. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a problem with this is the thing that I do have a problem with, though. I'll tell you this. This is the narrative that just drives me batshit. When they come at me on the comments and they're like, why don't you grow up, Jaffe? We've all grown up and we've all matured and your character's matured and you just are just still this fucking edgelord or whatever. And it's just, what I think it is,
edgelord.
There is this type of stunted adult that somehow, and I think it comes from parents, but it's society at large, that somehow convinces people that there is a roadmap to what it means to be mature and to be grown up and to be adult. And that comes with basically losing your energy and your sense of fun and your sense of play and your sense of that kind of 14-year-old kid that never dies within you. And it doesn't mean that you don't pay your bills. It doesn't mean that you don't, take care of your family. It doesn't mean you don't watch, serious movies and read deep philosophical books. It just means that you make room in your life for some fucking stupid barroom brawl fun from time to time. And it's so disturbing to me that there's these adults out there who are acting like I'm the immature one. I'm like, bitch, you're the one who clearly is using a roadmap given to you by somebody and following it about what it means to be mature. It's like, if you have to think about it, here's a hint, you're not mature. That's what bugs me as it relates to God of War. Because God of War was meant, and again, I don't mean the new one. I mean just when they look at mine and they say, the reason you don't like the new one is you're not mature. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm plenty mature. It's just that I don't think all my entertainment needs to be plenty mature, is what I would say.
Right. It just doesn't have to fit in a box, right?
Goddamn right. All right, buddy. Thank you for watching and calling in. Good to talk to you.
See you, Jaffe.
Yep. All right, let me get some of these chats. Listen to this. Goddamn JoJo D has stepped up like the goddamn cocksure, cock of the walk motherfucker he is. And he's gifted 5 memberships to the, I don't know what, well, the show that it's Gabbin' Games. Thank you, JoJo D. He's always there as a great supporter of this show, and we appreciate it. Zeke got one. Nawdog got one. Jizzaloop. Eric, for some reason, got one. And somebody else got one, but I can't find it. Zeke, Nawdog, Jizzaloop, Eric, and PG. Thank you, JoJo D. Everybody give JoJo D a pickle tickle and a picture of Taylor Swift. Evan Taylor has stepped up. Couple of super chats in there. Didn't say much. Sent me some really nice ducats. I appreciate it, Evan. Jesus, Jaffe. Don't be shy. Come on, baby. Come on and talk to me. But I appreciate that, Evan. All right. The phone is back on if you want to call in. In the meantime, God of War 38 months. Eddie Torres says this. With services like PS Plus Premium, I don't understand why they don't greenlight smaller entries in classic games like Ape Escape, Jumping Flash, or Parappa. Those could be day one drops on there. I'll get to that in just a second. Eddie T, I agree. I also think they should have made the goddamn Valhalla PS Plus Premium first. That's how you get it. Eventually they can get it for free. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Man, David Jaffe. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Doing a stream. What's going on with you? What are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing a Berserk shirt, kind of one of my favorite books out there.
Oh,
but, man, I tuned into the stream and I...
Go suck a big fucking
So I'm just
dick.
kind of excited. I never thought I'd, have this type of conversation.
It is a delight to talk to you. So what do you want to talk about? What's going on?
I actually wanted to get on and get on your opinion on... I know you had your opinions on God of War Ragnarok, and I was the individual who left the comment saying, I respect your decision because I'm not going to call you and berate you on your opinions on God of War Ragnarok and what you thought about your character that you created yourself, and
Well,
the original trilogy.
I appreciate that.
I know. Yeah, no worries. I grew up with the original trilogy at a very young age. I really should have been playing those games at that age, but they were really special to me in my life. And first, I got to thank you,
Well,
kind of getting
on behalf of all of us who made them, you're very welcome. Thanks for playing them.
Thank you. But I did see your comment on Twitter, and that caused kind of like, I guess, the God of War Twitter community to kind of go buck wild against you. And I kind of wanted to, I guess, give my personal aspects and thoughts on it.
Sure, go for it.
And kind of, yeah. So in relation to what you said about Kratos and him kind of being as a term soft character, I kind of understand what you're getting at. Because what you designed him as was, he's already much of a layered character in God of War 1, even in God of War 1.
Well, I appreciate you recognizing that, because a lot of people come at God of War 1, 2, and 3, and they're just like, that game's he's just this angry guy. I'm like, bitch, you probably never fucking played those games. He's not just this angry guy. But still, regardless, continue, please.
Yeah, so he was already a multi-layered dimensional character, killing his wife, his child, going through Ares. He's already gone through a lot of anger and sorrow, and he's already had a lot of calm moments too. So I'm playing through Ragnarok right now, through my first playthrough, so I'm not going to go off as an expert of Ragnarok itself. But I did 100% God of War 2018, and I kind of like where Santa Monica was taking the character. I didn't really get I don't know your full thoughts on 2018. I know you kind of, you liked it.
2018. I thought it was great.
Okay, yeah. So in God of War 2018, I loved kind of like the bonding that Kratos had with his son, and that was around the time in my life where I had a child recently at that point, and I was like, I was kind of, getting really understanding with Kratos as a character that had that baggage and that way that you and your team developed and set up in the original trilogy, and that kind of paid off, I think, a little well in 2018. But in Ragnarok, I kind of see a little bit where you're coming at with Kratos, kind of, a little too, one too many, quips, as Kratos. I'm like, Kratos isn't really like a quippy kind of guy, like a Marvel character, where I'm getting at.
I've heard that complaint. I didn't mind that as much as everything was like the fucking Mimir's talking to him about the shit, it's like, don't worry, brother, let me fucking help you with this shit, and then Atreus is getting all snotty and Kratos is all, it's like, I don't want to be, one of the things about writing is, and again, I think the writing, and I saw this online and I agree, the writing in the new games it's great. It's so much better than the writing in the old games. But one of the things that was weird about Ragnarok is one of the tenets of at least commercial writing is you should at least like one of the main characters. You know, there's a whole industry of this kind of tropey cliche book called Save the Cat, right? It's about screenwriting at first.
Yeah.
And it's like the opening couple of scenes, the hero has to quote, save the cat. It's not literal, but it's like they got to do something to make you like the main character. I didn't like either one of the motherfuckers that I had to spend all this time with in Ragnarok. They were both a bunch of pouty fucking assholes. And I don't like that. It's boring.
Yeah. No, I feel that because coming off of God of War 2018, and I played this on PC, and then I bought the PS5 for Ragnarok, of course, me being the fan of the franchise I am. I kind of see a little bit of my friend brought this up too, so I'm going to bring it up here, that he thought that these characters kind of don't talk like how they would in the original trilogy. Like Kratos, I would say he is a man of very few words, but he also kind of knows how to get his point across. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in 2018 and or Ragnarok. I'm just saying that it kind of has this ye old sort of like talk. And Atreus doesn't have that sort of thing. He's talking like he's from Brooklyn. That's what he said. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if you get that, I understand where you're also coming from that. But as far as oh man, I'm just
no, you're rambling, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words and I appreciate the insight. Look, I mean, let me know. Call back when you finish Ragnarok. I think it. Again, I'm not knocking. Like I said, I'm a huge Eric Williams fan. The guy, God of War doesn't exist in its state, which in any of the games without that guy and his amazing talent. But he had to have been in a tough position because, you know, what do you learn from 2018, you know, as a director, as a designer? Because on one hand, the simple thing to say, but this is not all you need to take from it, is, oh, well, people love 2018, so do more of that. But I think 2018 was such a just meta breath of fresh air because it was so deconstructive, and it was almost like the movie Scream in a lot of ways. When that came out and it really kind of took apart what we knew about horror, but you can only do that once. And then you're kind of left with the character that Corey left with Eric. And it's like, what do I do with this guy? I just don't think he's a very compelling character in Ragnarok.
I see.
So anyway, but let me know what you think when you finish. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, there he goes off into the night. Fallout Guy, thank you for the super chat. He says, who came up with the idea of Challenge of the Gods? I probably came up with the idea, but I didn't build any of the levels. That was like Tobin and Joe Wright and the testers played them and gave feedback. I was just like, look, we need more gameplay time, but I don't want to fuck the story. And let's, you know, a lot of games still do that, but a lot of games were doing that then. It's like, let's throw in something just so you don't sell the game back to the store. So that was my contribution. And then I was like, hey, let's do a floors of a tower, or I don't fucking know. But that was that. And then, but I don't think I designed any of those levels, maybe one or two. Evan Taylor, thank you for the third super chat, and thank you for the super chat ducats there. I appreciate it. He says, why is it that Dante can exist and Doomslayer can exist and be appreciated, yet Kratos needed to change? Why? Because The Last of Us happened. LOL. Well, first off, I think Kratos is a much more successful character than Dante. So, you know, Dante is a niche character and I love the Devil May Cry series, but Dante hasn't really broken out like Kratos has originally, or the new Kratos even more so. But, you know, I think that's what people, Evan, also get confused about when I talk about this. They're like, well, the first three Gods of War and then Ascension, it was just getting so fucking boring. You just want it to be the same over and over. And I'm like, you have to make a distinction, or I certainly am making a distinction, between the gameplay and the plot of the new games and new enemy types and characters and mechanics. You have to be able to distinguish that from, like, that's not writing, right? That's like saying Mario games are boring because Mario as a character hasn't evolved. But Donkey Kong, which was the first time we ever saw the guy, all the way up until Super Mario Wonder, and everything in between, most of those games have evolved and they've presented new ideas and new things, but the intellectual property of Mario is still pretty much Mario. And I think Kratos changed because Corey had a fucking brilliant idea. And it was so long in the tooth that it probably took a brilliant idea to get Sony to go, okay, we'll give you the ducats for this. That's pretty fucking clever. And it was. Hang on one second, fellas. You know, there you go. That's what I would say. Let me get some of these super chats, which I appreciate very, very much, fellas. Lazarus says, "What's all the changes? What's all the changes you'd make if you directed Ragnarok?" I mean, that is a really great, tough question because, like I said, I imagine I would be, it would be conundrum if I was Eric Williams and I had been handed pick up where 2018 left off, right? Because I don't think. Like I said with Darth Vader, once he arcs, he's done. You know, he's a great background character to bring in from time to time. But you don't want to go on a big adventure with this guy. I don't. So I guess what I would do is here's what I would have done. I would have done a couple of things. I would have put the game director marketing hat on more than the writer hat. And I would have said, look, I don't care who Atreus was in 2018, but we have got to make this guy badass and cool. We've got to make people want to play him. That doesn't mean he has to be super violent. But look, and I don't mean the actor. I'm just going to fucking call it what it is. The character of Atreus, and I don't mean this like the people who say things like, oh, Aloy is not a character that I want to have sex with or something. I don't mean that. But Atreus is just he's not a visually appealing kid, right? His design, he's not fun to look at. He's not fun to listen to. And you throw that on top of him, he's just kind of a spoiled baby, right? And I don't know why they fucking, yeah, there you go. V says Atreus looks boring. Yeah, he just looks like some guy. He looks like the guy who delivered, your lunch or something at the office. It's not like, make the motherfucker a star, right? Make him look like a fucking star, make him act like, and make him somebody that people want to play. And I played Atreus, and I did like playing him when he was on that little adventure with, was it Sindri or one of those guys? But, visually, I have seen much better designs online of what Atreus could have looked like. And that wasn't there. And they could have given him some cool mechanics, and people should be dying to play Atreus. So I would have said, look, we're going to fix that. Because in 2018, it worked for the narrative, but he arced, he grew. Let's make him cool. Because he ain't cool right now. He's annoying as fuck, and he's just this dull-looking human. I would have, made Kratos less somber. I would have gotten, look, you can still tell the Norse mythology, but just like we invented all kinds of crazy shit that never happened in Greek mythology for God of War, again, this fucking obsession with story versus obsession with pleasing the player. I'm not saying that's how it feels. I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure that's not the case. But my God, all the fucking snow and all the caverns and all the fucking trolls. It's like, I get it. It's Norse mythology. Okay, but, I come from a generation where every game had to have a snow level, a desert level, a minecart level, and a flying level. Give me some variety. Fuck you, Bukaki. Bukaki says, God of War creator says little boy Atreus is not hot enough. I want some visual variety. I want to go to places and big adventures, and instead it's just like, look at the mountain. I don't know whose accent that is, but it was just all the fucking same visual. Eddie T says it looks like they're designing gameplay around a story and it constantly hinders it. That's what it feels like. I don't know if that's true for sure. Forget Me Not, thank you for the super chat. Says, where do you want to go next in terms of Kratos as a character in the next pantheon besides Egypt? I'd like to see Chinese or Japanese mythology. I mean, again, the real problem with God of War is same as it ever was, which is, you know, assuming you love the character, is it just jump from mythology to mythology and kill everybody? I mean, I think I'd love to see Egypt. I would love to see that. Chinese and Japanese, I'm not as interested in because I've seen so many games going back to like Onimusha up to like, and I know, what's the one that just came out this year? Not Black Myth, but Woe Lin, or what, the one that was day one Game Pass from, I forget who made that game. A really good game, but I've already seen so much of that. I haven't really seen like big budget production Egyptian stuff. And so I think Egypt would get me excited for it. The other thing I'll tell you, is even in Ragnarok, it was so nice to get to a color palette swap where Kratos ends up in this location. I'm not going to spoil it. That has nothing to do with snow. And it's like, oh, something new. I'm advancing. I'm seeing new things. I'm getting a payoff. It's just, and I'm telling you, I'm not going to tell you it was, but it was somebody who is very much in the know about Santa Monica. And again, I mentioned that scene with Atreus, and it just went on and on and on. And I said to them, why didn't they just do like a dissolve or a cut or go back to Kratos, and then you played for 20 minutes as him, and then you cut back to Atreus, and it was, half that had passed, so you don't have to play it. And they said, because story comes first for them now. And that's what they said to me. And this is not some person who heard from a friend. This person knows. Whether everybody at the studio agrees with that, I can't tell you. But this person's take is certifiably solid. And at least enough people feel that way that they wouldn't have said it to me if they didn't. Lazarus, did I get that one? Did I already do yours? What's all the changes you'd make if you made Ragnarok? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. Let me turn the phone back on. Sorry about that. I need to have a sign that's like when it's on, when it's off. Did not play Ragnarok long enough to explore Atreus' mechanics, as Twisted said. Fuck you. Fuck you is my answer to you. Fuck you. How I played 15, 16 hours. How long do I gotta fucking play a game before I get it, right? I don't understand what kind of prerequisite, what kind of hoop do I have to jump through to get the game played enough? It's Jaffe. What's up, man?
Hey, I just kind of wanted to add to the conversation of basically like new God of War versus old God of War, basically.
Okay.
As someone who grew up playing the original God of War games, and I'm talking about like playing them on the PS2, not going back and playing them on like some like fancy emulator, whatever. That was my first introduction to the character of Kratos. And I think the people who see him as one-dimensional in the old games, I don't really think they understand the anguish and the suffering that he's feeling.
I would have to guess they didn't actually play them. They took the press's narrative, and it was a good narrative when 2018 came out, of like, look how much the series has matured and grown and all that. He's no longer this one note, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, he never was. So if you actually play, it doesn't mean, like I said, I cop to the fact, or acquiesce the fact that the writing in the new games is so much better. I'm not saying the old games were better or worse, but certainly in the writing they were worse. But to suggest that the old games, he was just this one note guy and all he did was scream and yell, maybe towards Ascension where it just got a little crazy, but certainly the first two and the third game, he was a more well-rounded character. My guess is they didn't play him.
Well, not only that, but I think it's like, it's one of those things where like you can have a character that's angry that's good. Like, for instance, I don't see this whole narrative being pointed towards Doom. So the Doom
Right.
Marine has been the same Doom Marine since 1993. He's the same Doom Marine that's in Doom Eternal. Okay, what do people know about him? Okay, he likes the color green. He runs around with the shotgun. He's fast as shit. He kills. He doesn't really talk. And he's constantly pissed off. People seem to be okay with that and don't want any kind of character development with the Doom guy. But oh no, Kratos has to have character development because
and to be fair, Doom Eternal is to Doom as God of War 2018 is to God of War, except that God of War does it with their story and Doom does it with their gameplay, right? So I think, I would have been much again, I don't mind Kratos changing a little bit, but staying Kratos like Doom Marine does. But it needed people who asked me that question, like, well, what, you're just going to make the same game? No, moron. It's like, why is it that or the other? Why not what you're saying? Why not take God of War and figure out a way to do what they did with Doom Eternal and go, let's just reinvent it, but it's still God of War. Which is probably why I'm enjoying Valhalla so much, because Valhalla so far is like, it's the great gameplay from the new ones and the great graphics and all that, but it's not very different, but at least I get that without all of the angsty shit. But I agree with you. I think the reason people expect it is because they were given it and they loved it, and so that's what it is now. But Doom, Doom solved the problem by having great gameplay that was fresh and unique. I think if God of War solved it that way, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. But they chose to solve it more with story than anything else. Christian says Doom Eternal was more story. Yes, sure. But it wasn't a story-based video game.
I beat Ragnarok. Yeah. And by the time I got to the end of it and I beat it and I put the controller down and everything, I was like, did I really just witness Kratos needing help from like 2 to 3 other people to whip the shit out of Odin?
Right. I didn't even get to Odin because, I don't know.
Because I think back to fighting Zeus, and it's like, there's no way you could tell me the guy that destroyed a whole pantheon of gods by himself and beat Zeus so badly that he even, like, beat the soul of Zeus himself. Like, he beat Zeus physically and spiritually. All of a sudden, he can't whip the shit out of Odin by himself, and he needs the help of Freya and his son. Like, get the fuck out of here with that.
Well, he is older. He's an old man now, Can't do what he used to, but I hear what you're saying. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for the call, man.
You're welcome. Take care, man.
You too, sir. Rambling Entertainment, thank you for the super chat. He says, I think the main issue for writing and gameplay is the disparity between old Kratos gamers and current ones that haven't played the old ones. Kind of like Rambling, that guy just said. Yeah, I mean, it's not that I take issue with people not liking the old games. I mean, that's and I'm getting better at not taking it personal, but they all come at me on Twitter and stuff and act like it's like, oh, you're just salty and they fired you from God of War, and so of course it's like, A, I've only been fired from one job in my life and it wasn't Sony. But B, no, I've never had. I've been grateful that Kratos continues with the new team and the new ideas. But I still, do I have to fucking, jizz all over the goddamn franchise in order to, express my love in a way that you will believe me? That bugs the shit out of me. Truth be told, it really, really does. I am a toxic asset masochist. That's true. Also, don't forget, I can't help but be racist. It's true. Yeah, there you go. Matt says Corey Barlog says he's stronger with age now. Maybe, but yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little weird that he kind of had those limits in the new ones, but he was older. Ragnarok says Masochist is better than Spider-Man. There is no better for you, maybe. That's the other thing, probably what the problem is. What, Jaffe? Probably what the problem is that so many people these days can't seem to be able to distinguish between an opinion and a fact. It's like, I don't care if you like this more than that, but stop telling people they're wrong just because they don't agree with you. Stop telling me I'm wrong because I love Starfield. I don't give a fuck if you didn't love Starfield. The fuck do I care? Just like you shouldn't give a fuck if I loved the game you didn't. Makes no sense. PK says, social media influencers complaining about a guy that actually created games. I mean, you know, they're idiots. Fuck them. It's just, you know, ugh, so gross. All right, well, that's God of War talk to death. What else we want to talk about? Anything else on your mind? I saw this story. You know, we talked on Gabbin' Games about this patent Sony has filed. And Bukaki says Starfield, more like Wokefield. You know what? Let me get this call first, and we'll jump to this patent. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I did, Bill Bones. Bill Bones says, did you see the modders who stopped modding Starfield over complaints it was bland and boring? Great. I did, and everyone's like, see? I'm like, see what? I don't care if they stop making their mods. I love Starfield. Go suck my dick. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up? That calls, the signal's really bad. I'm going to hang up. If you can get it fixed, call back, though. Did I see the Gran Turismo movie? I did. It was fine. I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. It wasn't memorable, but it was entertaining for what it was. Okay. So anyway, they make this patent for difficulty adjustment in real time, which, I mean, they're not, you know, it has to be the way that the patent has been created. It can't be the idea, because that idea has been around and has been implemented in a variety of different ways. But what it is that, you know, when you come back to the game after a while, but it might just be always, it sounded at first like it was there to help you ramp back up to get into the game if you haven't played for a while. Shit. I'll turn off the phone after this. I'll turn it on, but we'll take this topic. But let me get this. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Hello, Jaffe. Is this better, the signal?
Yeah, what's going on?
I wanted to chime in about that discussion with the cutscenes.
Yeah, go ahead.
By the way, if people are giving you a hard time with the old games, they were great. I played all of them, except for this, what was it? After the third one, there was a side story. But they were really, really great. Since like very young ages, with my brother, we love your games.
Cool.
With the cutscenes?
Yes.
In Ragnarok, there are no cutscenes. They made a technical decision not to include any cutscenes at all. But I think they put them in a position they had to make compromises. Like you said, you can't switch between characters because they have to be in the same exact scene. Otherwise, you can't switch between Kratos and someone else.
Right. I mean, I don't think when people say cutscenes, it's just laborious storytelling. Maybe it's not a cutscene, but it's Kratos and Atreus just walking and talking. You know, it's just like, even last night, I mean, to an extent playing Valhalla, last night I go up to this, one of those tablets that you use to upgrade or whatever it is, and Mimir's just talking, and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. But he, brother, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to figure out how the system works. I got something to say. It drives me crazy. But no, I get it.
You're right.
I get it. It's not. It's walk and talks. It's not. It's not cutscenes, but it may as well be.
Yeah, but if they had cutscenes, you could have skipped that. And here the problem is they are streaming assets while you're walking or crawling.
We were streaming. We were streaming assets in the very first God of War 1. That game streamed off the disc, because that's not the issue.
Okay, and then why are they doing this then? Because there are really boring parts in the game.
I don't know. I told you, the person who's in the know told me, because they're more than happy to be slaves to the story and not the experience of the player. You know, there were tons of shit that we had to cut out of God of War 1 and 2, and we just cut them, and we laid down a couple of lines of dialogue to explain what happened or to explain the jump in time or jump in location, and we got on with it. Nobody ever noticed. But here it's just like, no, we gotta.
Yeah, you have to walk and see and slowly. Yeah, if they cut maybe 20% of the game, it would be like 100/100, and it was like 9/10 for me. I really like the parts that I liked, but there was so much filler. Still, I like God of War games,
Sure.
especially the third one, and of course the first one and the second one and the PSP games. All of them have special place in my heart. But they could have cut a little bit and made it.
Yeah. I mean, look, anybody who makes a game is going to bring, or any creative product, whether it's a failure or a hit, they're going to bring stuff to it that they're passionate about that probably doesn't really aid the game. Like and again, I say this as a guy who loved 2018's God of War, but that whole thing with we'll never cut the camera, it didn't work. I don't think it was Corey being a pompous ass. I think he genuinely thought for most people there would be more of an intimacy with the main character and a sense of really being with him if you didn't cut. But for me, I never noticed it. And frankly, I'm sure there was a lot of stuff that got sacrificed to support that. Whether it was more content, more bosses, because apparently it was a beast to make work. And I'm just kind of like, it wasn't needed. But the press just came all over. Like, it's so brilliant. I'm like, you know what? Again, you can love something. Like, I would love to talk to somebody in the press that actually felt it was brilliant, and I'd like them to articulate why.
It is a technical achievement. It's a marvel.
But so what? That's not why I play games. Most people don't play games to see a technical achievement. They play games because they want to have fun or be entertained.
And I remember reading an article in the first game when they ported to the PC.
Yep.
Like a real TV set, they had extras when people made use of the widescreen settings. You would see things that you shouldn't see because they were streaming them in, putting just titles.
Yeah, I don't know how they made it, but I hear you. And let's just agree that 2018. Here's the rate 2018 on a scale of 1 to 10. Go.
10.
Rate Ragnarok.
9.
Rate Brie Larson.
Sorry?
Never mind. Thank you for the call. I do appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, baby. It should be in that pouch. Oh, I know what you mean. Yes. Hey, here. This? Yeah. All right. Are you walking? Be safe, please. Love you too. Okay. I was watching Community last night with one of my kids, and if you've seen this show, a lot of people have. I'm just coming to it new. There's a scene where Abed is, goes to this dance, and he takes 2 girls, but he meets the girl in the coat room. And that's kind of like his true love in the episode. And it turns out, I'm like, who is that? I've fucking seen that girl before. And that was Brie Larson before Brie Larson became Brie Larson. She was really good in it. Really, really good. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's let me bring in NATO real quick. NATO, it's Jaffe. What's going on? NATO.
Hey.
What's up?
Just wanted to call and also talk about the new versus old God of War.
Okay, shoot.
So I actually already thought about this since when I played the 2018, about 2 years ago on PC, and I already felt like, okay, this is not what I'm expecting from God of War. Absolutely. I understand that you and respect that you have different opinion, probably because you have a good relation with Corey, so you maybe unintentionally unable to criticize this game.
I've criticized it. People are mad at me because I'm criticizing it now.
Yeah, well, you're leaning more on Ragnarok than 2018, but 2018 was probably the worst game I ever played.
The worst game or the most disappointing? Because it wasn't a bad game. You don't think it was a badly made game, do you?
Well, well, graphics, design, it was perfect. It was what you expect from a Sony game.
Okay.
But the game itself, to be enjoyable, it was horrible. I mean, you spend half of the game kayaking or like in the boat.
Yeah.
And this is horrible. This is really, really, really bad, especially for someone expecting a God of War game. So I believe Sony, maybe unintentionally, but this is how a human or played on the nostalgia. Like 2018 was a game that everyone waited for so many years. So it's definitely going to say. So it made very good sale, but I don't believe that it's because it was a good game. I mean, the kid, uh, annoying as hell. Actually, he sent you back to hell because he is so annoying. And suddenly he changed, which doesn't it's not explained in the story, but it was so annoying that he actually did something that sent you back to the freezing hell there. Also, other big things. So, uh, I am a big fan of Neil Gaiman. So he wrote a lot about the Norse mythology, and when you read his books, actually he has one book specifically written about the Norse mythology. And
Oh, are you saying
there's
you're saying Neil Gaiman?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
His
exactly.
his Norse book is really cool. Absolutely.
Exactly. Sorry for mispronouncing his name. So
Yeah, God
basically,
forbid you speak more than one language. How dare you?
yeah, yeah. So basically, he wrote very interesting books. There are so many characters that I didn't see any in the God of War 2018. I didn't play Ragnarok. I'm only playing on PC. So, but I'm not expecting much from what I saw online. There is no so much deity, and this is not why I play a God of War game. Even with a new God of War, I'm expecting fighting God, like climbing over them and hit them with my sword in the eye or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting.
what that makes me think of though, is it makes me think how interested I am in Corey's new game, because it's clear Corey wants to. I'm going to hang up, by the way, because the call connection's really bad. But thank you for the call, buddy. It's clear Corey likes directing and storytelling and all of those things, and I think that's great, and he's clearly good at it. I wonder how much of that desire really crept into God of War, not dissimilar, even though I liked God of War or loved God of War 2018, but not dissimilar to, like, Neil Druckmann's not the guy to be directing Uncharted. He's exactly the guy to be directing The Last of Us, and The Last of Us Part 2 and whatnot. But Uncharted 4, the air just fell out of the or came out of the tire on that game. And I think Corey's new game, which I understand is going to be a new IP, is much more exciting to me, because from the ground up, it is going to be a game built on exactly the world, the story, the characters that he's interested in. My volume is low. How is it possible? My volume is low. Hang on, I believe you. It's my Zoom mic. Jesus, the gain is up to, is that better? Is that better, or is my volume still low? God damn. Uncharted 4, that game was great. No, I don't think it was great at all. I thought it was fine, and it had some moments, but it was just, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. Let me bring in Yorch real quick. Yorch, it's Jaffe. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jaffe. How's it going, man?
It is going good. What's up?
Everything good, man. Everything good. Just watching you, man. It's been a while
Cool.
since I've
Thank you,
been
buddy.
able to join, man. So yeah, no, just wanted you were talking about the God of War thing. Just wanted to add some to that.
Okay, shoot.
Yeah. So I think it's multiple things, right? In terms of in my case, I'm super biased, right? Because I played the old games, when they came out, all that stuff. So nostalgia kind of um, clouds you a bit in that case. But I do see them as different things,
Sure.
right? So I just probably at some point think if they had made these games with a different character, it probably would have been better, because you would have kind of been able to do whatever you want to do, right? Instead of
Well,
having
I
to
don't
carry
I don't know
Kratos'
because
baggage.
I think Kratos, like, again, I look at 2018 like a rabbit that Corey pulled out of a hat, but you can only do that trick once, right? And so if it was just Kratos but called something different, and it wasn't about the re-examination of everything from the literal story of God of War to who a lot of people were as gamers and who they are now, blah blah blah. I think without all of that,
Yeah.
you'd been left with an old age grumpy dude that wasn't a very compelling character. I'm sorry. I think if you take the old Kratos out of the new Kratos, and you take the new Kratos' struggles of his past that we're all very familiar with, and he's just this guy who's struggling with stuff in the past that we didn't really get to experience as players or people being told a story. I don't think anybody would point to that and say that's the star of our $200 million game. He's the one.
Yeah,
He's not. He's not a very interesting character after he's arced.
I get it, and it's so interesting, right? That you bring that up, right? Because you're basically saying that because he has this past is the reason why he is interesting, right?
In
Which basically
2018.
gives you exactly,
But
in
in
that will
Ragnarok,
basically
we've already seen the trick, and now it's just like, God, we got to deal with this fucking guy again. He was
yeah.
He was good last time because it was part of the context. But now that the context we got the thrill, now you're asking us to actually like this guy. He's not interesting.
Yeah, but do you think that is because you actually lived that past from Kratos when you played the old games or made them or whatever, right? Or in my case, I played them. So I can relate to that thing in the beginning of 2018, right? And then for me, it's worn out for Ragnarok because for me, Kratos is what he was in the previous games, right? So maybe that's kind of where we would come from. Now, if you're a person who just learn about God of War with 2018, then you this guy is mad about all this stuff that happened or whatever, or he's protecting himself or not. He has this conflict with being involved with a child after what he lived, but you don't actually know it, right? Because we know that because we played Chains, we played Ghost of Sparta, all that stuff, right? So we played it, right? So I think that's probably why.
I'm sure it helps, it affects your effect. But so much about 2018, which is why I think it was so fucking clever. A lot of people love it that didn't even play the God of War, not because they really understand or care about God of War old school, but because they like the narrative of like, yeah, we're all grown up now. We're gonna take the immature stuff and we're gonna call it what it is and see, don't we feel like big boys now and all that shit. And I mean, I'm not saying everybody was that way, but that narrative for a variety of reasons was so compelling to the press and to gamers who had gotten older but maybe still felt insecure about playing video games, something I never fucking did. I was always didn't give a fuck. I'm like, I like video games, go fuck yourself. I think that aspect of it really allowed them to love the game beyond what was actually there in the game. And so I think Ragnarok is fascinating because you strip all that away and you're just left with really what it is. And it's like, none of these characters are likable. George, thanks for calling, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So J Talk says, Jaffe, you're the only one that doesn't like him as a character. Why are you a moron? Why do you continually say things that make me hate you? You're simply wrong. There's a way to write that statement, talking about being mature. Here's the way you should have written your dumb statement to me. Jaffe, I appreciate you don't like Kratos, but you have to admit there are a lot of people that like the character very, very much. It wouldn't be that way, here's how I know that, because it sold a shit ton more copies in the first game. Now, there's reasons for that, beyond the character. But that's how you actually make a point that is something other than, look, I was educated with a banana and an inner tube. So try again, bitch. Hey, look at this. It's Dionico Sanchez. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. And your very first super chat. I appreciate it. He says, speaking of gameplay versus story, do you have an opinion on God of War's Ascension multiplayer? It wasn't perfect, but I loved it. I didn't play it that much. I played it because we were doing, we wanted to have some melee combat and Drawn to Death. And I talked to the network engineer who did it. And he said, you know, I wanted to hire him, but he was starting his own gig. But he says, play that, call me, or have your programmers call me if you have any questions. Because they did a lot of great stuff with latency and lag and melee. Because melee is really hard to do online compared to like projectiles and stuff, which was not that big of a deal because you can predict where that shit's going to go. And anyway, so what I played, I enjoyed. It was pretty good. But I didn't spend enough time with it to really have a deep opinion, but I liked what I played, and thank you for that super chat, buddy. Eddie T says, it reminds me when Neil Druckmann says they don't use the word fun to describe The Last of Us. Yeah, but it is engaging. I mean, I get that The Last of Us isn't fun, but I do think it's an engaging game. Trey Trimble says, good Sir Jaffe, I have another visual idea for stream, and you have a Twitter message. I'm looking at my Twitter right now. I don't see it. Waiting. Blink twice. No, please don't shut up. I appreciate it. I just don't know where to look. Did you send me a private message? Okay. I'm going to turn on the phone in just 1 second, but I want to get this folk from the Discord. This is just says S. I don't know who I'm talking to. What's up?
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Jaffe. I'm sorry. Okay, so I sent you a voice note on the phone number that you had gave. But look, so I agree with what you were saying. Like, as far as, you know, you still want to give these characters like that edge or that story of, you know, what they strive for and stuff like that, right? If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Giving him an edge. I just want him to be interesting. I think he's really dull.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I agree with you in terms of that. I really do. Okay, because one of the things too, I feel like, because when you said in your last videos is that I mean, they should have, like, for camera wise, they should have did something. Well, what I feel like they should have did was like took note from Darksiders 3, where it's like you can make the camera go from, you know, outwardly, you know, like how the old God of War games was, and then you can make it like inwardly. That's just one of them as far as the camera goes.
I don't disagree, and I wonder about that because I want to say Eric Williams and or Derek Daniels worked on one of the Darksiders games, so I know and these guys are geniuses when it comes to combat, so they would have known it. My guess is Corey was really passionate about that no camera cut thing, and then when it got handed off to Eric, again, who knows what to take about what was genuinely good versus what the meta narrative of why the game was good. And maybe Eric wanted to do that, but he's like, people clearly love the single camera. Let's not change it. But I would have changed it in a heartbeat. I agree with you.
Exactly. And then another thing is when you was talking about, well, I know you reviewed like one of the chapters for the Fallen God series, but one of the things too that brought my question, if you played all the way through Valhalla and all that, I don't know if you did, but I ain't gonna spoil it, forever.
I had no interest in playing the whole thing.
Okay, so the thing is that if that's the case, like for they did, is do you think that there should be more stories for young Kratos, if that makes sense? Where like during the transitional period before he comes to the Northlands, do you think he could have just like visited these other pantheons first and then got into where he was at?
Yeah, I mean, there's a great comic book. I don't know, it's a great comic book, but it's an entertaining comic book that it's in graphic novel form now, which is Kratos actually, I believe, going to Egypt, and I believe it takes place after God of War 3, and it's the story of him somehow getting rid of the chains, but they keep coming back. It's almost like a Twilight episode, So yeah, there's plenty. There are so many places. The thing I'm interested in too is like there's this whole section of Kratos' life where he was in service to the gods of Olympus in order for them to remove his nightmares. He had 10 years of adventures, you know, running these violent errands for the gods where you could tell stories. I mean, there's a lot you could do with it that would allow you to still be Kratos, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, they've taken it where they have. I think it would be. I really think they are. I don't know, man. This is a hard franchise because it's no longer built on the bones of just the gameplay and the story's kind of a 25%er. And it's not just the story first and foremost like Last of Us. So I don't know what you do with it at this point. I'd have to sit down and really do some thinking. But I appreciate the call. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. All right, no problem.
All right, man. All right, I'm going to turn the phone back on. Let me get these super chats first. Jaffe, Masochist, thank buddy. Jaffe, Sony developers keep wanting to make movie games because it's all PS fanboys want. McGraphics, cutscenes, quality. I mean, again, that's great. I love those games too for the most part. But, you know, I hear you, man. I don't get it. I don't get why there's no one at Sony or not enough people at Sony that are saying, yes, we want to do that. But we don't only want to do that. You know, we don't only want to be known for that, but it is what it is. GH, thank you for the super chat. He says, Jaffe, who snitched on you in your last stream? I don't know what you mean. Sir, I don't know what you mean. I really don't know what you're talking about. The phone is back on if you want to call in. But yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, sir. You think they'd remake God of War? Are they too ashamed? I don't know, man, but if you play the scene that people are talking about from Valhalla, man, I want a new God of War remake with the shit that we got to play in Valhalla. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? It's Neurotic from YouTube and Twitch and other platforms.
Man, you got to talk a little louder. Talk a little louder.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Neurotic from like YouTube. Just
cool.
I'm trying to recover from COVID right now, so bear with me if my voice sounds a little bit hoarse. So I wanted to. So you were talking about like difficulty and like how games can, like earlier you're talking about how like games like players have the option to change up difficulty. I was curious as to like where you were going to go with that.
Well, right. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's fascinating. So the patent that these guys that they patented that's in the news, I was originally under the impression that it was only going to be a way to ease you back into the game if you haven't been playing for a while, because I guess the games are so long now, of course, that people are like, you know, it's hard to get back into a game you've been away from. And that made sense to me. Like, you'd start playing it and you get your ass kicked, but now it's like, okay, we're going to adjust the difficulty and then ramp it back up to where it was when you stopped playing a week ago. But it sounds like now it's kind of ubiquitous. It doesn't have to be part of that, you know, ramp back up system. It's just there. And I think, not only do I think it's excellent, not only do I think it's about fucking time. I mean, people have been doing it for a while, but, you know, no one's ever really been able to nail it. But what bugs me about it is the fact that a lot of these hardcore gamers are complaining about it. Like, oh, it's going to take the challenge away or whatever. And it's like they don't realize that they're actually voting against themselves when it comes to things like Bloodborne having an easy mode, right? Because if you take the designer, and I've said this before and I stand by this, if you take, let's just take Valhalla. So let's take the director saying, we want everybody to experience this experience that we've crafted. But not everybody is experiencing that because everybody comes at it with different skill, right? Just like people say, oh, Elden Ring without it being really fucking hard is an Elden Ring. Cool. But Elden Ring hard for me is not Elden Ring hard for you. And so what you're really saying is you want a challenge or you want to gatekeep. But if you want a challenge and the director of the game has made Elden Ring meant to be a challenge, it'll stay that way because the AI will adjust in real time to give you the vision of the director. But instead, they don't see it that way. And they're like, no, you shouldn't force us to... It's like, why? I thought you respected, you know, From Software, and you respected what it is that their vision is. And now you're basically saying if the AI can deliver that singular vision to every single player because the difficulty's adjusting in real time. Now it's a problem. So I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's fucking great. To
that point, it makes me think about like some of like the early games I played. You know, like for example, or like when you're just starting off a game and you're fighting off your first enemies and they're like the easiest enemies. You know, basically throwaway enemies. To me, that's what you're talking about. Is kind of like an evolution of that. Like you give the player the easy enemies to ease them into it, and then slowly start to introduce. Obviously, like. I mean that's a no-brainer, obviously, but I do like that.
It's different though. It doesn't. It's not. I mean, the ramping up I would agree with, but the main thing is, even if you're fighting a boss that's supposed to be really tough, right? Like as a designer, when I was working with the teams tuning bosses, I never wanted a boss to be something that was, for 50% of the audience, a shelf moment. We always wanted you to maybe die anywhere from that's what we talk about when we'd start tuning a boss. We'd say, okay, this should be a boss or a character where you struggle for about 5 to 8 times and then you get it, and by the 10th to 12th time, everybody's pretty much making it through. Well, that's an impossible ask, even though that's what the director wanted, because everybody's skill set is different. Everybody's reflexes are different and whatnot. If AI can give the player exactly what the director wants, that's like going into a restaurant and suddenly everyone's eating the same meal, even though taste buds, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying? So I it's not just about ramping up, although I think that's great. It's about, from beginning to end, giving the player a consistent experience that other players are having based on what the director wants you to have. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because like I've always thought about like there's different ways to like obviously adjust difficulty settings. I always kept thinking for years and years, how can it create like a balance in difficulty, you know, that every player can experience. And
AI, baby, that's the way. All right, thank you for the call, man.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. Get well with your COVID, bud.
All right, thanks. No problem.
I want to say real quick, Craig Hooligan, thank you very, very much. He has gifted Toxmod a membership to the Gabbin' in the Games and the Call in Chaos. Thank you, buddy, for that. It's very generous. Mr. Sikanikadu, I don't know how to say your name, but he's got Roadkill as an icon. I appreciate it. Nice super chat. He says, I want the next God of War in Japan. Kratos versus Raijin Fujin. Again, like I said, Onimusha up until the new Assassin's Creed is going to be in Japan. Ghost Tsushima's in Japan. The Last Ronin's in Japan. You've got a bunch of Chinese mythology as well out there. I think those two areas for myths is pretty much not as fertile as it should be. I think if you don't go Egypt, you know, maybe you go Aztec, maybe you go African mythology, I think is, it depends the country you're talking about, but sort of that region, although Egypt is in Africa, but you know what I'm saying, like sort of southern Africa, I think could be interesting just because I don't know what it is, but clearly there's a lot of mythology everywhere. That would be cool. Russian even? Does Russian have like ancient myths, or do they just pretty much go in with the European stuff with the Zeus and shit? I don't know. But I agree. I think it would be interesting, but I would stay away from Japan is what I would do. Okay. Phone line's back on. I need to figure out something like Poland. Poland has some cool stuff, man. I was working on a horror game with the guys in Poland, and they were telling me about some of the demons that exist in their culture. This is really interesting shit, man. All right. Well, hello. It is Jaffe. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jaffe. How you doing today?
I'm good. You got to talk a little louder, please.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Do your best. Let's see what happens. All right, shoot. What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I'm a fan of Ragnarok in 2018, but I'm also kind of wondering, do you think there's a way that they can take the character to make him more ruthless without kind of like regressing, or do you feel like what do you think they could do at that point to like bring us more of the old Kratos?
I mean, a good writer, I don't know if you guys can hear the caller all that well, but he was asking, now with Kratos where he is, what could they do? A good writer can do a lot of things. I mean, and solve it. You know, just hearing you ask that question, what comes to mind? And again, I'm not saying that this is a great idea, but it just comes to mind would be, you know, could you do something where, you know, the rage part of Atreus, I mean, you know, the Hulk has actually done this before where they've separated the two. So maybe, you know, it's fucking Greek myths and Norse and Egypt. I mean, maybe something happens where, you know, the rage comes back, but instead of, he's like, I can't fucking fight it anymore. And so he somehow manages to extract the rage and it becomes kind of Dark Kratos, kind of its own thing. And then he becomes, you know, who is he without that? And if he can turn him into a main character that's compelling without that, you know, then you could change between them. You could tell different stories. You know, you could have a number of things you could do with that. Now, that may be a great story. It may be a terrible story. But regardless, there are things, you know, that you can do as a writer. I think the multiverse is played out. You could have gone that way with the Thread of Fates, and it's like, oh,
right.
You know, there's so many ways Kratos, your adventure has gone. You followed this thread. Let's look at this thread now, and it picks up right where God of War 3 leaves off, and it's totally different. You know, I think they could absolutely do something compelling if they wanted to. That wasn't where Kratos is today, where they left him as a character. So. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, no, thanks for answering that, man. I'm a really big fan.
Cool. Thank you, man.
I appreciate you taking the call.
Anytime.
So,
Call back
hope
anytime.
You have a great night.
You too, sir. See you soon. All right. Phones are still on. That's what I would do. That's what I would do when it comes to Kratos. But I hated it when Jason and Aaron and Donnie Cates did that to the Hulk. Complete misportrayal. Other writers did it much more tactfully. Yeah, I mean, the concept can work, but it doesn't have to be that concept. It could be a million things you could do with Kratos. It could be, you know, Atreus something could happen with Atreus and he comes back and he's just a fucking nightmare and then they have to fight. And in order to, you know, save something bigger than himself, I don't know what it is, he ends up having to fight his son and he has to kill his son and he just snaps. I don't fucking know. Or like Cathal says in the chat, he could just join a chorus line. So that would work too. I don't think that's a bad idea. Did I turn that back off? Hang on, fellas. Oh, sorry. Phone lines are open. Why not cover some of the ancient Native American civs? That would be cool too at Hacker. But I think the thing is, it's in a lot of ways, it's less about the mythology, although I think it's important to get that right, and more about what's interesting about him being in that space as a character in a gameplay. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up? Hello?
Hey, what's up? It's P Turtle.
It is not P Turtle.
It's the white P Turtle, 007 Porsche. What's up?
What's going on? What do you want to talk about?
I got a couple quick questions. Happy holidays, by the way.
You as well.
So, first one is P Turtle real, or do you guys have like a little act?
No. I love the idea of hiring actors to do call-ins and all that shit, but no, P Turtle. Well, here's what I think. I think P Turtle knows he's full of shit for the most part. I think he is absolutely based on who he is as the real dude, but I think he pushes it for the show because he knows it gets him attention, and I enjoy talking to him. But no, he's not like a paid character we've created at all. But I would totally love to have done that. I think that's great.
He needs to be
We've
in
had
GTA
a couple
6,
of characters that have been creations of some of the mods that have called in. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but it's rare because none of them have really hit. So the only one that really seems to be a recurring character, you know, that people like are, you know, P Turtle and Bukaki call in a lot, or Bukaki co-hosts the show or helps me produce a show from time to time, and people like him and people like P Turtle, but the other characters that were creations didn't really land.
Gotcha. I was just curious about that.
Yep.
It reminds me of that meme on that lady on that plane. That motherfucker in the back of the plane is not real.
That's exactly
I don't care what you guys say.
All right, man. Thank you for the call.
One more quick question, please.
Yeah, shoot.
Please, Jeff. I've asked you this a few times, but I'm going to be like Stan to Eminem. I'm going to keep asking it until I get an answer.
Okay.
I'm very curious about this one. Twisted Metal Black Online. it had like a secret code you could put in, and once you put that in, you were able to communicate text chat online. I was wondering why that was a secret code. Like, was that part of the design, or a designer put it in by secret without the full
It's a
team knowing?
secret code that
Like,
when
why
you
was
enter the code, you can then text chat.
You're able to text chat. Yeah.
In
That
the
was the only
game,
way you
in
could
the game
communicate in that
itself, not like in the lobby.
Yep. No, that was. I believe it's been a long time, but yeah, I believe so. During the game, you could just bring up. your
Here's what I'll
keyboard
tell
and
you.
start
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe it was just something out in Utah the devs would do. So it's like, it was almost like, hey, we can broadcast to the players if there's like an emergency, or, oh shit, we're about to go down with the servers. I don't really remember it. But what I will tell you is that I remember Twisted Metal Black had gone, not gold, but it had cleared beta. We were about to submit it. And the testers found a code, or maybe it was Utah telling us there was a code in there where you could make the cars fly. And I was so fucking pissed off. And they're like, look, it's a secret code. Weird. I'm like, dude, the internet exists and it won't be secret for long. And then what you're going to have is you're going to have a bunch of games that get ruined because they're close. And then the little brother's like, I'm going to enter the code and fly away. And I'm like, you can't do it. And I was so glad Sony backed me and not Utah, and they had them taken out. But, you know, shit like that goes in all the time. So, but in the case of what you're talking about, I have no idea. No clue. All right, man. Thank you for the call, bud.
Alrighty.
Roy, thank you for that super chat. He says, Jaffe, this is a great idea for anyone hungry game devs out there. Spawn the comic book with the gameplay of the new God of War. Look, man, I didn't work on a Spawn game. My design partner at the time, Mike Guillaume, worked with the team who made Skyblazer on a 2D side-scrolling Spawn game. And then Sony first party made a PS1 Spawn game. So I've read all the early Spawns. I still own a bunch of the early Spawn comics. I'm not a fan, but I like him. He's cool. I don't like Mutant Mo in our chat and our community. He's a huge Spawn guy. But for me, I just think he's okay. But anyway, I don't know if there's enough of a fan base for a game like Spawn to really merit a big budget game like that. But if there might be, there may very well be. Mutant Mo says Grub is coming after you again, Jaffe. Well, send me a link. What's he saying? I want to know. Here you go. Jojo D is in the chat. Jojo D, always good to talk to you. Thank you for those gift subs earlier in the stream. What is going on? Where is he? Jojo D. He ain't there. He's drunk. 3 sheets to the wind. All right, I'm going to tell you, yeah, you're right. Call of Duty just had a whole Spawn season. That's true. Let me go see what Jeff... Well, I can't see what Jeff Grubb's saying about me because he blocked me. Somebody tell me what Jeff Grubb said about me. I'm curious. I'll turn on the phone in the meantime. Comic book influences for Kratos? Sure. I mean, I think Lobo, Wolverine, Hulk, those are the ones that were... Wolverine was front of mind and Hulk was front of mind to the point that we actually had... a giant Wolverine standee in the office. So why would Grub block you? No idea. Well, I do know why, but it's there was something in my Twitter or something somewhere. Okay, Mutimo, thanks. Where he saw me saying, join the Diet Soda Soldiers, be part of the army or whatever. And this is kind of when people, still thought that for some reason I was some alt-right guy, which I couldn't be further from the case. And so he said something like, oh, we know what kind of army Jaffe's talking about, and kind of like threw me under the bus publicly like I'm some kind of right-wing dude. And I'm like, bitch, have you met me? But that said, that's when that happened. I'm just like, oh, I guess he blocked me. Mutant Mo says he put it in the chat in the Discord. Let's take a look. Oh no, you're showing me United States top relative porn searches. I want to see the Jeff Grubb tweet. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to turn the phone back on. How is Ozempic going? Oh, it's such a good experience so far. Look, here's my pen. Here's my pen, my Ozempic pen. Yeah, I've been on it for a month. I love it. It's been really great because, I was pre-diabetic. I'm probably still am, I don't know, but it's been great for that because it's adjusted my food, which has adjusted my blood sugar, and I'm able to be much more clear and focused and have more energy, which I absolutely love. And I've lost weight on it, which I've been needing to do. It's absolutely changed the way I think about food, which I absolutely fucking love. It's been a great experience so far. I know a lot of people, have some side effects they're not fans of, but I haven't really had any of those. I've been very fortunate. Okay, so here's what Jeff Grubb says. I basically, something called 80 Level says, Jaffe, the creator of God of War, posted a video on YouTube sharing that he's not happy with how the series and Kratos evolved, saying that the character became too soft. And then Grubb retweeted that and said, from the maker of the hardest game for the rock hard dudes, Drawn to Death. Yes, Jeff Grubb. What an idiot. Look, here's what I'll tell you about Jeff Grubb. I don't know. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he's a great guy. I don't fucking know the guy. But just based on how he comes across as it relates to me, I will tell you that I don't like him. But that's just because it's personal. Maybe he's great. Here's what I'll say about Jeff Grubb, though. It's like, if he wasn't leaking shit, I don't know. Maybe he's a good journalist. I don't know. I can't speak I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw this guy under the bus because I don't know him. But yes, my last game was Drawn to Death. And guess what? I was as proud of that game as I was of God of War, Twisted Metal, and Calling All Cars and Mickey Mania. And that's what it takes, Jeff Grubb. I'm sure there have been articles you've written that you've loved that didn't connect. Guess what? It doesn't mean they were bad. It means they just didn't connect. So go fuck yourself, you double standard fat fuck. And I say this as a fat guy. But that said, though, I don't hate anybody. I certainly don't hate Jeff Grubb, but I just wish he would, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird that he would somehow arrive at a conclusion that I'm alt-right. That bugs me. Ravno says, Jaffe, the red line is a voicemail. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Okay. Did I see the Suicide Squad leaks? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Fill me in. Phone's back on. He disliked you for the Gamergate retweet. The Gamergate retweet was fine. All I said was somebody sent me something and said, look, man, Gamergate is, and it wasn't, by the way. Yeah, the phone number on the screen, yes. Oh, the red line is voicemail. Not anymore, I turned it on. Thank you, buddy. All I said was when they said to me, if you're into ethics and journalism and you're into not gatekeeping video games, then that's what Gamergate is. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's what Gamergate is, call me a Gamergater. But it's not. It wasn't for most people. And I tweeted that, and I guess that's what he's saying. He got upset. Young Wolf, this is what's funny. I'm going to get to the caller in a second. Just hang tight. Young Wolf tweets in here. He says, New Kratos is better story. Now, first off, that may very well be true. It's probably true. It's certainly better written. Is it a better story? Your mileage will vary, but it wouldn't surprise me, Young Wolf, if 90% of the world agreed with you. Okay? But I want to ask you what kind of person you have to be to show up to the live stream, using an alias name, of course, of the guy who was incredibly key in bringing the old God of Wars to life. And literally say, New Kratos is better story. I don't mind that you think that. I mind that it's clear your parents, they didn't raise you poorly. It's more like they didn't bother to raise you at all. And you got to feel bad about that. You got to feel fucking bad about that. Hey, caller, it's Jaffe. What's going on?
Hey, it's me. It's Ravnos.
Oh, hey, man.
Yeah, I could have swore months or maybe a year ago you said that a lot of the industry fart sniffers blocked you because someone sent you a thing like, if you support ethical journalism for games media, then retweet this, and you were like, yeah, I totally do. And then you didn't realize it was a Gamersgate thing.
No. You can find the tweet, or I'll find it eventually, put it on a future show. But I'm like, no, it was somebody was basically saying, this is what Gamergate is, and it's the stuff that I just told you. It was, and I said, okay, well, yeah, sure. If that's what Gamergate is, then great. I'm a fucking, I'm a fucking Gamergate. But I know that that's not what it was for a lot of people, and so clearly I don't support that. But God forbid I don't put out a piece of information that isn't pre-chewed for idiots. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to backpedal into this idiocy that so many people online have fallen into of only reading the headlines, having no media literacy, and thinking that they actually have the skinny when it comes to real information. Newsflash for those people. They're fucking morons.
Yeah, I don't get the whole blocking people because, I think this person's politics are bad, so I'm going to block them. It's like,
no, I block people when they are annoying, but I don't block them because they're politics. I think it's,
Exactly. If someone's pestering you or attacking you and they just keep doing it, fine, block them. But, to just go, I don't like David Jaffe because I think he's alt-right, I'm going to block him. That's
can you imagine?
Kind of...
can you imagine being so dumb that you think I'm alt-right?
Yeah, that's pretty, literally, that's restarted. That's what that is.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Bukaki Drive-By in the chat says, I'm still waiting to see Ravenos' daughter that we would immediately nut ourselves to. Apparently, on the movie awards, the Game Awards stream, you said you should see my daughter. You guys would all, come right away. And we're like, who talks about their daughter that way? I know who.
Donald Trump.
Ravenos and Donald Trump. You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
You goddamn right.
No, it's everybody was referring to Sydney as
I don't want to hear the details because then I basically am I'll be pulled into the lawsuit. I don't want to be in the lawsuit. Thank you, Ravenos. Okay, let me get these dudes in Discord, and then I'll turn back the phone on. Jaffe, I still wouldn't block them. I'd just mute them. I do that to some people, but other times I'm just like, man, I don't have the patience at this point. Locomotion says, Jaffe, they're chewing you up on Twitter. I don't care. I mean, let's put it this way. If you're going to chew me up on Twitter and you haven't bothered to hear what I'm actually saying, then go fuck yourself. Because no dev should be upset with me. He's saying devs are also chewing. Well, why? I'm giving you my opinion. I'm providing for the audience that shows up here, and I'm always honest. And I'm not being cruel. I'm not being mean. There are games I like and games I don't, and I'm not going to be one of the, I just always say something nice. No. I'm saying my job now with this show is to be honest and genuine with the audience that I have. And I'm sorry. If people say, what do you think of this game? I'm going to fucking tell you what I think of this game. But I've been over backwards. Making it clear, not because I think it's not, but because I know how people are, that God of War Ragnarok is a brilliantly, beautifully made game. And I love 2018. But I'm sorry I have an opinion that's not your opinion. Welcome to fucking life, bitch. Jesus Christ. Let's try Jojo D again. Jojo D, are you there this time? Hang on. Oh, are you there? Are you there? What's up, man?
Jojo D, are you there this time?
It's like
I'm here.
Calling from the past. Are you there now?
Oh, I'm here now, yes.
All right, what's going on, buddy?
Well, I was just talking to some of your fans on Discord. I couldn't believe it. I was on with them, and they wanted to talk about, I think, Bloodborne and how it relates to whatever. But what I wanted to talk to you about is the next, my guess is the next month, because we are in Christmas time. We are in Gabbing and Games. This is called In Chaos, and I'm bringing the chaos right to you. What is going to happen in Gabbing and Games with all your members, with all your fans, and yes, with all your trolls?
Well, we will be doing some, at least one movie night where we'll smoke pot and watch the worst Christmas movies ever. And by that, I don't mean
Sounds good.
Cameron Saving Christmas, although that is the worst fucking movie you have ever seen in your goddamn life. We'll be doing that. We'll be playing Santa Claus Massacre, which is great, from Puppet Combo. That'll be something we'll be streaming soon. And then, I'm not turning up my audio. It's all the way up. It's all the way up.
Am I not loud enough?
No, not you. He's fucking with. Now he's saying the caller's way louder than you. I don't understand. Say something, JoJo D. Let me see what's going on.
I am so excited. I am so excited about Gabbing Games, about Calling Chaos, about all the fans, about all the members.
Compare me to what he just said. Are you telling me that now I'm not loud enough? Now he's saying the caller's very loud. Ay. Caller's 11, Jaffe 5. I don't know. I'm literally turned all the way up, and I'm on a very high-end pro mic. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, the point is, though, so yeah, we got some Christmas stuff coming up, and it'll be fun as always, and I'm looking forward to it. I should probably let people know. Oh, I do want to let you know this, though. Tomorrow, thanks for the reminder, JoJo D, Adam Sessler will be on the show. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do not so much an interview, because I've interviewed Adam before, but we'll talk about some of the new stuff happening in his life as it relates to games, and then we're just going to shoot the shit about the news. We're going to shoot the shit about God of War, whatever he wants to talk about. But it's not going to be so much an interview as it's going to be us just shooting the shit about video games in general, talking about the news of the day. So Sessler's on tomorrow. If you want to call him, I know a lot of people want to talk to Adam. Bukaki says he wants to grill Adam on COVID and his opinion on abortion. That'll be great. That'll be great. So that's what's happening. So hopefully we'll see you there. And do you have any ideas for Gabbing Games Christmas that we should do that I haven't mentioned yet?
Well, sure. Number one, congratulations to your Gabbing Games and Calling Chaos. Number one, everyone in the Gabbing Games community, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
There you go. Thank you, JoJo D. I appreciate it, buddy, and thank you for all the support over the years. It means a lot, man.
You mean a lot to us too, Jaffe.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Don't tell JoJo D I said this about him, but
Everybody hates you, and I'm glad your husband died. He probably killed himself.
I say that with affection. He knows I'm kidding. Which Hulk runs did you read? Who are you? Oh my God, I can't get into that. I mean, I don't. I was never a. I was never a massive fan of the Hulk, like Spider-Man. That I read tons of Hulk. I read it when I needed something on the comic shelf, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. But I was not. I can't go into runs and stuff. What do you? Let me check something out real quick. Hang on, I want to check because people are telling me somebody tweeted at me, and I need to see this goddamn thing. I need to see this goddamn thing. 1 second, fellas, and I'm going to turn the phones back on. Corey didn't say anything. He said he's just doing the. He clearly wants to say, who's this guy? The guy everybody wanted to play Nathan Drake. Who's that fucking guy? In Castle, right? That dude. He's just playing that GIF. I don't even know what he's talking about. Anyway, it is what it is. But again, I'm loving Valhalla. I think it's great. Oh, fuck you, 8-Bit D. This is the problem I have with people in this community like him. He says, some people in this world grow up and mature, and then there's you. Explain to me how I haven't matured. I would like you to do that. Instead of coming in here and dropping some talking points, explain to me how I have not matured. Because I like some things that are not mature. That doesn't mean I'm immature. It means I have a very advanced palate when it comes to the entertainment I consume. And I will watch and read a lot of things that are considered deeper and wiser. And then I will also go watch The Good Doctor. And I will also go watch The Umbrella Academy because I think it's fucking fun. Because life is too fucking short and hard to sit around and act like you're all big boy grown up when a real big boy grown up knows that they don't give a fuck what you think. They just live in their fucking life. Some things people just don't grow out of. There's nothing wrong. Of course there's nothing wrong with that. I'm with you. 100%. All right, let's bring in DevKit. DevKit, it is Jaffe. What's up, buddy? DevKit.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hello.
What's up?
Yeah, I just played I played the new Valhalla DLC.
What'd you think?
Holy shit, that was good.
Yeah, what I've played so far has been great. I love it.
When they went back to like the Greek stuff.
Yeah, I love.
I was like, and when I saw the I just played all the God of War games, and just now completed all the God of War games. And when you have to sacrifice a Athenian soldier, I was like, is this from the first game?
Yeah, I thought that was so neat. And what I loved the most was seeing current day Santa Monica do that environment and that gameplay and those characters with their amazing new tech and talent. I've never been one of these guys. It's like, I want a fucking remake of God of War 1. You goddamn right I do now after seeing that. Yeah. Somebody, I hope they fucking that shit. Even in chapters, like I said, what I don't understand about Valhalla, because it's so good, is it didn't cost a lot. I mean, it cost a lot to build all the shit for Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But it's like, why in the world would they not take this for the first month or 2 months and say, this is going to be PS Plus Premium for the first month? And then the second month, it's going to be anyone who has PS Plus. And then the third month, it's free. You would drive so many subscriptions. And that's exactly what they need. And then they could fucking say, okay, let's take a smaller Skeleton Crew team and let's redo the greatest. I mean, seriously, what if they just did God of War 1, 2, and 3 and it was a montage game and they took like 3 of the best moments from each game and it was all playable. And so it was basically not a remake, but kind of a retelling with all the new tech, the new camera. I mean, that would be so fucking cool. And those could all be released individually on PS Plus, and then they could be sold. I mean, come on. Why are they making
I think that's what their vision. I'm like, everybody's like, oh, we need to, like, hell, I would play God of War again, like, how they doing it, the grease and everything, like a montage.
Yeah.
Like from Chain of Olympus, you could go through Ascensions, go through Kratos' backstory again, so people can refresh.
There you go. All right, buddy. Nice to talk to you as always. Say hi to your mom for me.
I will.
And your mom, I gotta get your mom on the show, right? I talked to your mom before.
Yeah.
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 Your mom's an interesting lady, sir.
Yeah, she was joking with you the other time, right?
She was not. Put her on the goddamn phone. She was joking with me?
Yeah.
You put that harlot on the goddamn telephone right now. Go get that woman. God damn. Get her. Go get her. Enough of this shit.
So as I said, I'd like to respond with a story.
Oh, shit.
She ain't coming on?
Yeah, she's right here.
Okay, let me talk to her. Can she hear me?
I don't know how to turn up the...
Just give her the goddamn phone, or whatever you're calling on. Give her the headset.
Oh, here.
Hello? You...
Yeah?
Tricky harlot. You lied to me about your multiple personality. I was so excited.
Excuse me? What did you call me? A harlot?
No, the multiple personalities is real.
Harlot. Because you lied to me.
No, the multiple personalities is real.
What are you talking about?
My multiple personalities are real.
Your son just said you lied about that.
No, I
tell you what, Dev Kit's mama, you need to whop that motherfucking kid of yours up the side of the head. He literally just came on the internet and lied about his mama. Think about that. Now how you feeling?
Oh no.
Oh shit! I'm going to hear a gunshot soon. How are you doing, ma'am? It's good to hear from you.
I'm doing good, and please don't call me ma'am because I think you're older than I am.
Let me tell you something. You're probably right. How old are you?
I'm 56.
Oh, then I'm 52. I'm not older than you.
See?
Listen, we can go on a date.
Dude, you're not young enough to be calling me ma'am.
Let's you and me go on a date. We're Gen Zers. Let's go on a date and talk all about the 80s. What do you think? Come on, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Absolutely not.
God damn it. Why not? Don't you love me like I love you?
Because of what you just said.
What did I just say?
You used my Lord's name in vain.
Harlot? Your Lord's name is Harlot?
No, you used the GD word.
Oh, goddamn. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Now. Come on now. You know what? I got to get back talking about video games, but I'll talk to you later. It's nice talking to you. Nice talking to you, Dev Kit. Nice talking to you, Dev Kit's mama. Bye, you guys.
Nice talking to you.
Oh, man.
Bye.
I think he's going to get the shit beaten out of him by his mama tonight. JoJo D showing back up like a badass motherfucker and dropping 5 more gift memberships. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Wallace Shawn gets 1. Kevin gets 1. Kevin Sal, Amadeus Morant, Ad Hacker, and Doug gets 1. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate that. To good sir JoJo D. Give him a pickle tickle and a kiss where the sun don't shine and show him where the horse bit. Yeah, I appreciate it, fellas. Yeah, Donut Head says mama's pissed. She sure is. Jaffe won Game of the Year. What are you talking about? Strong. All I'm telling you is people misunderstand me because they need me to talk like a fucking idiot. They need me to talk like a goddamn, I need to be so clear on this because anything I say, fuck you. I'm so tired of it. You people should be tired of it too. You should be tired of it too. All the people out there, even the people who are coming here and bitching at me about shit, y'all should be kind of like, you know what? I'm tired of only reading the headlines and being bamboozled by people telling me how things are. But when you actually dig a little bit, it turns out that no, it's not like they're saying. That's, come on, you should be tired of this shit. Phone line's back on. Someone call the red phone, see if the audio is super loud. Bukaki says God of War creator tries to fuck his fan's mom. Well, I didn't want to fuck her. I just wanted to take her on a goddamn date. I was going to take her to like a showing of Heathers or some such shit that we grew up with. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's going on?
What's going on, Jaffe? It's Pete Turtle.
Pete Turtle, you got to call on the Discord because this is too quiet. Nobody can hear you, man.
All right, I'll call.
All right. D Trucks, thank you for the super chat. He says, I reply with I love shit that's rated M for mature. So, well, you know what? I'm just saying. It's just, All right, Pete Turtle, I'm going to bring you in a minute, but Alex S has been waiting. Hang on. Alex, it's Jaffe. What's going on, buddy? Alex. Where you at, baby? Alex? All right, we're bringing in Pete Turtle. Hang on. Pete Turtle, what's going on, man? Pete Turtle?
Yo,
what's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is it clear?
It's clear as a bell, bitch. What's going on?
God, I'm sorry. I just can't hear about any more God of War talk. It's
free call. You can call in and talk about whatever the fuck you want.
I know, and why is it everybody's calling in about God of War? That franchise is dead.
No, it's not dead. They just put out the goddamn Valhalla, which is excellent.
Yeah, for free. You start giving out things for free when it's dead. I used to give away clothes that I wore for years for free.
Okay. But this is a great game. Nobody ever talks about your fashion sense, but everybody's talking about Valhalla.
Well, Let me ask you about tomorrow with Adam Sessler.
Yes, let's talk about good Sir Sessler coming on tomorrow.
Are you gonna let me lay into him this time?
No,
Because last time you saved him.
No, you will not be able to be an asshole to people, but you can call in, and if you can articulate a reason that you.
I've never been an asshole to anybody in my entire life.
You just said, can you lay into him? And I'm like, no, you cannot. You can call in and you can say, and I'll ask Adam, I'll be like, hey, do you want to only talk to members? Do you want to talk to anyone? Do you want to talk to any questions? Okay. But you cannot call into my stream and be mean to people I have on as guests. That's unacceptable. But you can, if they're willing to answer tough questions, yeah. I don't know. What do you want to ask them? What do you want to ask them?
I don't exactly know yet, but I know tomorrow when I ask him. No. I know tomorrow when I ask him, it's going to be great. It's going to be another 2.5 million views on Twitter, and a star will be born.
How long's the star? It's been being born for a long time. There's a point where you just have to kind of pack it up.
Well, let me ask you though.
I think people are fascinated that you're basically a pedophile and you're okay talking about it.
How am I basically a pedophile when you agree with me that it's okay to...
Everybody in the chat is saying this guy has a 17-year-old girlfriend and he's like a 30-year-old man. And it's like, yeah.
I'm older than 30. I'm about to be mid-30s.
Okay, and your girlfriend is still, trying to get through, algebra, correct?
He's a senior now.
Okay, well, algebra 2, whatever. Point is...
where does the pedophile come in? How am I a pedophile?
She's 17.
So what? It's legal in New York.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, do you want to check it out?
No, I do not want to Google anything about age of consent.
Let me ask you something, Jaffe. Let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
You see the girl walking down the street. She has big titties.
Oh, shit, here we go.
Do you like fat butts or no?
No, I don't. I mean, I respect them. I appreciate them, but no, it's not my cup of tea.
Because you have a tiny pee-pee.
Because I have
you have a tiny pee-pee?
No, I have
Because you have a tiny pee-pee?
I do not. I've been told my penis. Here's what I've been told. My penis, according to two women I've been with, two women have said, one in college and one much later, said that is surprisingly big. So I don't think it's big like Ron Jeremy kind of big or something. But it's big in the sense that if you look at me, you would be surprised to go, wow, that grows quite a bit. That's what I understand. So anyway, what's the point? You're saying that if my penis is a certain size, I won't respect larger butts?
No, sometimes that scares guys away.
It doesn't scare me. I just don't find it attractive. It's just not
okay, so you see a girl walking down the street. You don't know her age. She has big titties, beautiful face. She looks mature. She's developed. You think she's hot.
Yep.
She comes up to you and she says, hey, aren't you that guy who created God of War? I want to have sex with you tonight.
Then she finds out it was the one in 2005, and she's very upset because she's like, oh, I thought I was fucking the dad of the old Kratos.
That's actually a good question.
But look, I'm not one of these draw the line guys. There is a law that says, and in New York, it's New York, fine. Geez, thank you, buddy. He says Pete Turtle needs a job and a restraining order. I know. It's not. I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, well, when she was 17 years old, the night of her birthday, I wasn't attracted. But the minute the clock struck 12 and she was 18, suddenly I am attracted. I mean, I get it. I get it. But I also get that there are laws in place for a reason, and most of which is to protect the younger people, because there's a big power dynamic when you've got people as old as you hooking up with teenage girls.
First of all, I'm not hooking up with teenage girls. This is my girlfriend.
Okay.
We love each other.
Is she alive, or is she like one of those? Is this one of those stories where you like dug her up and you put her in the bed and she's not really living, but you pretend?
She's real. In fact, I'm driving back from my house.
Did you just say you're living with her?
No. I said I was driving back from her house.
I want to talk to her. Put her on the phone.
I just said I'm driving back from her house. I'm on the road. She's at home. She has school tomorrow.
Oh my God. Pete Turtle, I'll talk to you later, buddy. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Good Lord. Yorch, thank you for the super chat. He says that Pete Turtle is your Tony Clifton. I would bet a lot. It's up. Get up there. I would bet a lot of people don't know that reference, but I do, and I would say that would mean that I am Pete Turtle, because Andy Kaufman was Pete Turtle. I mean, Andy Kaufman was Tony Clifton, but I assure you, I'm not Pete Turtle. But I appreciate the reference. Do you know what? Speaking of God of War, we were the fuck, you sound like a bear, Ace. We were working on God of War when this story broke that Andy Kaufman, whatever, was actually, the whole thing, as people had predicted, had been a big scam, performance art, and he was coming back. He was about to announce he was alive, and it was like 2003. And that didn't happen, obviously. But I appreciate the super chat, buddy. Thank you for that. Come on now. Let's turn the phone back on for a moment. The phone is on. You can call in on your telephone. Dude, if you make that sound one more time, you got to see this guy. He's out of his fucking mind. Chill the fuck out. He's a big dog, man. Every time I look away from him, he makes that noise. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Hey, big fan. Thanks for opening up the phone here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling.
Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you great. What's going on?
Hey, so I had a question. I saw the video when you were talking about how Ragnarok just kind of didn't tickle your fancy, and I was kind of in the same camp as that. I think it would have been cool if, and I don't know if, I might be in the minority, if they killed, Atreus gets killed in the beginning, and then Kratos just goes on an all-out rager like he did in the old games, and just lays waste to everyone.
You know, I think that would be problematic. Only I don't have a problem killing Atreus and seeing how Kratos responds, but I think I do think it would look like a lot of backpedaling at this point if all that happened was Atreus dies and he's back to square one. I think that would be bad. But I know that motivation would probably work, but I don't think right now motivation to get Kratos to an interesting place as a character, the motivation, the writers who are very, very good can come up with that. The issue is where do they take him as a character that allows him to be worthy of a $300 million mainline video game? And that I don't think that's an easy thing to solve. So
that is true. I just don't really care about Atreus's
I don't either. And even people in the chat are like, well, they can't kill him because he's Loki. Well, Loki's, it's a fucking fantasy, right? So, Loki could split off from the Atreus character. He could kind of shed Atreus like a skin. It could be like Doctor Who, and then Loki's like, I don't even remember. I've been like 50 people as I've been evolving into Loki. And Kratos finds just the discarded skin of Atreus on a mountainside, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And it turns out Loki is like, "Yeah, I was Atreus, and I was all these other people too, and now I've become Loki." Mr. Avocado says, "What kind of fan fiction is this?" It's exactly the kind of fan fiction the whole goddamn series is built on. I hope to God nobody ever tried to write a fucking term paper on the Greek mythology story of Kratos. Because it was all made up.
It's fiction. I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's a story, and you can write it any way you really want.
Sure.
And as long as it's plausible and enjoyable and fun, that's what matters.
You're goddamn right. All right, buddy. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
You too. All right, I'm going to turn off the phone. I'm going to clear out these wonderful people who have been waiting in the Discord, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. But thank you guys for spending some time with me. Let's get the last couple of calls. Here we go. I also saw my nephew Daniel in the chat. Hey, this guy snuck in. I'm going to get this guy then. Good to see you, Daniel. I don't know if it's the longest one, though. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
Hello, is this Mr. Jaffe, the guy who created God of War?
I didn't create it. I created it with a very, very talented team, but I did work on it, and I was highly influential in it. Yes.
Well, I don't know anything about that because I wasn't bored when you made the first ones, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not old enough to play the new ones because my mom said I can't play those.
Okay.
But I just wanted to let you know that Fortnite Kratos, he's the best one. He does all the cool dances and he shoots guns.
Let me
Fuck
tell
you. That's what I wanted to say.
But yeah, but let me tell you something about Fortnite. What a coward! I'm going to call him back. I have his number. Hang on. Let me call him back. Hang on. I'm calling this guy back. Hang on. Okay, one sec. Coward. You won't pick up your phone because you're a coward.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
What a baby. See that? He will not answer. What I was going to say, actually, is Fortnite's great right now. Fortnite's better than it's ever been. The goddamn racing in Fortnite's a blast. The Lego Minecraft kind of thing is a blast. And I love playing no build mode. It's one of the best shooters fucking out there. It's really fucking fun. And I understand a lot of people get complaining about the art style, but it's a good goddamn game. And, there's a lot of great user content that's been made. Anyway, hey, Alex, it's Jaffe. What's up, man?
Hey, Jaffe, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. What's going on?
Yeah, I just called in to say hi. I
Alex.
just wanted to say formula.
You
The
just wanna
formula that
Yeah.
you gave me, I'm still working on it.
The formula I gave you. I gave you a formula?
The baby making formula.
Oh, yes. Okay, and is it going well? Do you have a baby yet?
No, it's not actually working. I'm trying to, like you said, 7 days before, right? The ovulation.
Well, you have to figure out when the ovulation period is, and once you figure out the ovulation period, if your main goal is to get your wife pregnant, then you can use that to figure out when the best time is to have sex. And then when you have sex, you make sure she lays in a certain position afterwards so that the sperm is able to get to the egg and have the best chance of doing so. So that's how it works.
Okay, so
but again, the penis goes in the
okay,
vagina,
so-
right?
Oh,
Let's not do the thing we did
but it
before,
all-
right?
Sorry?
The penis goes in the vagina.
that again?
The penis, you can write down the penis goes in the vagina. Let's not mess up before.
Yes, but there's a problem, Jaffe. The problem is, do you know premature ejaculation?
Mm-hmm. I love his music. I didn't used to like rap, but I love it now.
And when the premature ejaculation hits you before you can have an intercourse, what do?
Well, think of baseball. I mean, if you actually have actual erectile dysfunction, you should go see a doctor. But assuming that you just are really excited like a fucking chihuahua, then there's a good chance you could kind of think your way down from that particular scenario. Thank you for the call, Alex. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, Jaffe, thank you.
All right, let's bring in CR2D. I like how you've changed your name from CR3D to CR2D. Did you lose a plane of existence, sir?
No.
Okay.
I just changed it because
yeah, why
I
not?
don't remember why. Well, I was doing a lot of illustration stuff.
I remember
so.
you got all pissed at me because I was working with you, and then I decided
I know.
I decided to use some AI art, and you lost your fucking shit. The fuck's the matter with you? God, what's going on, man?
Dude, hey, I was having a tough time, all right, and I do apologize. It wasn't professional. I'll say it right now.
It's good to have you back. No worries. What's going on? What do you want to talk about?
So, okay, I was thinking of
was
this.
that?
So we were talking about the God of War thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit this bowl.
What are you meditating?
No. Actually, look, I got this new chair. It doesn't squeak anymore. All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, No, I was thinking about God of War, and I was like, well, what if, you know, like what they did with Devil May Cry 5, right? You know, like they kind of went back to like what worked. So what if they did, you know, basically rebooted God of War in a way, but started it before Kratos kills this fucking family?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would
whole game
I think that's
is
cool.
all about that. And then when he does kill his family, saying like the end of it or the sequel or whatever, like that shit would hit so much harder.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something interesting there. I like the fact that it's not just a reboot, but kind of like when J.J. Abrams did his Star Wars movie, and it was like, they're totally rebooting Star Trek. And it's like, no, they actually explain it and they embedded it. So if you're saying that Kratos would somehow have the opportunity to go back to that night, I think that could be cool. But again, I think if you're Sony, you're going, what are you talking about? Reboot it. Go fuck yourself. You know how much money we're making? I don't know how Ragnarok is sold. Certainly God of War 2018 was a massive smash. I know Ragnarok was a big hit. I could be wrong. I'm not basing this on any news I've read at all, other than the fact that I haven't seen any, you know, press releases from Sony trumpeting about the sales. So my gut tells me that perhaps it's a little bit soft compared to what they expected. But I think they're probably going, we're doing quite fine, gents. Don't worry about us. So we'll see. All right.
Well, yeah, it's still sold really well. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks, buddy. All right. Last two calls, and I want to look at some Twitter with you guys based on what people are saying. Hey, it's Jaffe again. What's up, man? Good to talk to you again.
Yes, I was gonna say, what did you think of God of War Ragnarok?
As I've said throughout the show, I respect it. I thought it was beautifully made. The sound is great. There's some great level design, puzzle design. The production is great. The combat is fun. I just thought the pacing was too much for me. I couldn't hang with it, and I also thought that the like I said, now that I kind of got the trick that Corey pulled out of the hat, the rabbit in God of War 2018, which I adored, I didn't really find myself enjoying spending time with the two stars. I didn't like Atreus or Kratos in that game. But I'm loving Valhalla.
Yeah, like... Okay. Because, yeah, that was one thing I was going to say was, like, I like the beginning of Ragnarok was fine, but it was just really the way that it played out could have been a lot different, really, if that makes sense. Like, it could have been a lot different. You could have made, like, certain things, like, happen a certain way, or if you were going to bring back certain characters, like, say, with the whole thing with Helheim, like, when they went to Helheim, it was, like... The way that they set it up in 2018 was like, oh, don't ever go back there because if this happens and this happens. But then when you get to Ragnarok, it's like, oh, what happens if we did do that? Oh, then this would have happened or whatever, stuff like that. It's like you could have showed us that, or like show us, like give us that freedom to do these things, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, it was things like that. You know, like. I like the beginning of Ragnarok. It's just the execution. Like I like the ideas. I like where some of the stuff was going, but it's the execution behind it. That was the only thing that I had like, problems with. If that makes sense.
Well, no, I have you played the Valhalla yet?
Yeah, well, I saw like gameplay and stuff on it or whatever. I saw how they did certain things. I don't know if you completed it. That's what I was saying. I didn't want to give spoilers on that.
Yeah, no, I haven't finished it, but I'm loving it so far. So it's pretty good. So all right, buddy, thanks for calling back. I'll talk to you soon. All right, last call. Then I do want to look at some of these Twitters. People are saying shit. Yorch, once again, what's going on, bud?
Hey, Jaffe.
Hey,
how's it going, man?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, man. I wanted to talk to you about. You were talking about that AI tech.
The patent
related to how it would adjust to difficulty and those kind of things. And I was also wondering if you had seen the one that kind of makes like this kind of trailer or previously on whenever you start like playing the game.
Yeah, that is
a rewind of the last thing that happened.
That was part. I imagine that's a different patent, but that was part of the news reporting last week that patent, which basically does that, it kind of shows you it gives you a little cutscene that the AI puts together after about, it's like, I don't know how long it is, 20 minutes 20 seconds or what. And it brings you back up to speed narratively. And then that couples with the patent where the AI adjusts itself in real time so that you can ease back into the game if you haven't been playing it for a while. I think they're both great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes total sense, especially when you see what you've been playing Fortnite recently, right? And you see how this suddenly can turn into this mess where you played like X amount of different games, and it's hard for you to pick up back on.
Look,
to
even coming back to Ragnarok,
played, right?
I mean, coming back to Valhalla was really interesting. I love how they basically, I mean, it's not, I immediately had all the stuff, and my Kratos was where I stopped playing my Kratos in Ragnarok. But I still had to struggle for the first, 30 minutes just to remember all the controls and this, that, and the other. So I think it's absolutely makes a lot of sense. All right, George, I got to run.
Yeah,
Thank you, buddy. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen like the tools for the Fortnite Unreal Engine
Unreal. It's
stuff,
fucking
right?
amazing. It's fucking amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I wanted to see is how you would see those two things merging, right? Which basically they track every component, every element in that game. And when you see that, you actually see how you add any component, you can see it. So they basically can tie things where you would basically speak to the AI and tell it, can you remember where did I see the square thing where I need to put this in Elden Ring, right? And it will basically tell you, oh, it is where you picked up this thing, and will map you where you have to go, and you basically just go there, right?
Right.
So they have the data to build something like that. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's all very, very cool. Although I really don't want. I mean, I guess if you're willing to ask somebody how to solve something, I don't. You don't mind it. I don't like things being spoiled that way. But I hear you. All right, buddy.
No, absolutely.
I'll talk to you later. I got to run. Thanks, bud. Thanks, George.
See ya.
Thank you for the support, buddy. I appreciate it. I gotta wrap up, but I do want to go to Twitter. Because people are saying, Jaffe, I want to respond in real time to some of these tweets. People are such dicks. Okay, here's one. Let me make this a little bigger. Oh, hang on, fellas. God damn it, Bobby. Okay. I was about to praise Jaffe until I saw pronouns in his bio. Never mind. What's wrong with having pronouns in my bio? It's because I respect the fact that there are people who don't conform to the norm when it comes to gender identity. And so I don't mind sort of normalizing the fact that, something you might want to be aware of. What's the problem with that? It's being nice. I don't think anybody's been stuck in the 2000s more than Jaffe. It's just simply not true. It's. I'm sorry. You just don't understand. Jacob. You don't have the cognition and or the intelligence to understand what I'm talking about. It's not that I'm stuck in the 2000s and I want God of War to play just like God of War ever played. Blah 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 blah. That is not my point. My point is not that things don't evolve. My point is look at Wolverine, look at Mario, look at Hulk. Look at the characters that have changed for the times, but they are still the essence of the IP that was appealing to begin with. I guarantee you, looking at the screen right now, there's Kratos. If I had gone into Santa Monica back in the day, and I would have said, this is the star, and this is where he is in his journey, and this is his personality, I would not have gotten a green light, because who he is in these games is incredibly well written, incredibly well done. But in my opinion, this character is not that compelling as a standalone star of a video game, and neither is Atreus. It doesn't mean the gameplay is not brilliant. It doesn't mean 2018 wasn't brilliant. I love 2018. But after, like I said, that rabbit got pulled out of the hat by Corey and the trick was incredibly well done, Eric is now left with this guy who would never be given the green light for a game because he's kind of mopey and dull and boring and he's complaining all the time and he's just, it doesn't mean you can't have a complex character. It doesn't mean, look, in 2000, what we were doing with Kratos was totally ahead of the curve. Like I said, he started the game committing suicide. It was a pathos-filled fucking game. But this character is dull. I'm sorry, but he's a lot more fun though. In Valhalla, Valhalla's a fucking blast. I like this guy. I love these guys who say Jaffe's washed up. Here are the people who are allowed to tell me I'm washed up. Well, really no one, but I mean, they can tell me. But I don't care. Now, here's what I'll tell you. When I was younger, I'm going to tell you something. This is how I felt. When I was younger, I was at USC, and we would go to Westwood, it was college town, UCLA. On Fridays, they had huge movie theaters, tons of movie theaters. And I remember starting to see Brian De Palma's movie posters on billboards, and, nobody was showing up. The reviews weren't great. And I was like, man, that would suck. Spielberg's still in his prime. Lucas is still doing shit. But De Palma, who ran with those guys, Coppola's still doing shit. De Palma, who ran with those guys in the 70s, though, he fell off. He fell off, right? He's washed up. So I get it. And I don't know what De Palma's mindset was back then. But I know that I get why somebody would look at me, because I always assumed, well, once you've made movies, why would you ever want to do anything else? That sounds like the greatest thing in the world to fucking do. And so the idea that all these people come at it from an angle of, like this guy says, can't help but feel bad for me. Imagine being creatively barred from your own work and have them dismissed because it varies in a direction you don't prefer, which leads to folks saying they're glad he's not making more games. I don't want to make more games. I think what they're making is great from a lot of angles. I just think some of it is, it's certainly not for me. I don't think the character's pretty fucking good after the first game, although I do like him in Valhalla, so maybe it was just a Ragnarok thing. I don't know. And all these people, they've done nothing. Nawdog says, oh, I'm sorry, Maverick. When did you leave your mark on the world? You haven't done shit. You haven't done shit. I mean, I'm serious. I don't walk around, toot my own horn or giving a shit about that. But, when push comes to shove, let's be clear. I could die tomorrow and I'll still be remembered. I'll be talked about. I've brought, with the teams I've worked with, a great deal of joy into people's life. You have done nothing. You are, as Louis C.K. says, you are a non-contributing zero. The best thing you've done today is probably not murdered somebody. Hang on.
Hi.
Hey, baby.
Do you have an Xbox battery?
Yes. You can have this one. See? My kid's a real fucking gamer. What are you playing?
GTA.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fuck you, uncensored mag. You don't even use your real name. You don't even use your real name, uncensored Maverick. What a coward. What a coward. Yes. Oh, look at this one. This is the last game Jaffe made. Yes, you're goddamn right. That's the last game I made. You know the last game Corey made before Ragnarok? It was called Mad Max. Never came out, or his version never came out. People have failures. That's how we learn, bitch. If you had been raised by parents who gave a shit about you, you would understand that failures are the bridge that gets built to lead you to the next success, okay? So fuck you and stick your Metacritic up your butthole. I want to see, and I'm going to say this only one more time. I'm not going to belabor this. David Jaffe's brain stagnated at the age of 16. Bitch, this is a problem with you. This is probably why you can't enjoy your life, because you are so concerned what other people think. I like, at times, returning to my 16-year-old self and my 14-year-old self and my 10-year-old self. It's fun. It's fucking fun and it's real and it's genuine. And other times I like being with my 52-year-old self. Okay? The difference is that your number one priority as an adult is to take care of your fucking business. And if you do that, what's the problem? What's the fucking problem? You've done nothing. Sit down, shut the fuck up. The last one I'll read is somebody said look up. I like Chris Ray Gun. I don't know him that well, but let me look at this guy. OC Rabbit. I fucking hate David Jaffe. Let me look up Ray Guns real quick and see what he's saying about this. Hey, now, Chris Ray Gun, come on now. Where is it? Does he not? He's got a Twitter. I follow him. What the fuck's his name? Here it is. That's parody. That's not really Chris. I don't fucking know. What's his thing? Don't listen to the Twitter cuck, says Zeke. They would piss themselves if Kratos farted in their direction. That's true. Jaffe, you are a fucking patient. How can you even be bothered? Because it's fun. It's content. That's the end of the day. That's the truth. If I can take what they do, and make money off of it and entertain people with it and have good discussions with you guys, then I'm grateful for it. Because it's content that, it's really fucking, it's difficult to make content. It's difficult to find things to talk about that are really interesting and compelling. So I'm in. I'm totally in. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, Bad Robo says, sad story, Jaffe. No one will remember us in 300 years. Probably not, and that's fine. But let me. Here's what I don't really care. Oh, Chris Argun. Okay, thank you, Darth Nugget. I don't really care about legacy like that. I'm just saying compared to that jackass. But here's what I will tell you. Is I like the idea. I don't care about being remembered really, except by people I knew, my kids and stuff. Chris Argun. I don't. What? Which one is he? Chris Argun. I don't fucking know. But here's the deal. I love the fact that I got to work with these teams on games that made because it's all this butterfly effect. You don't know how the thing from a smile that you give a stranger to working on a game that brought a lot of people peace and joy, and then that peace and joy gave them the ability to do X, Y, and Z. It's like that story I told when Robin Williams came up and told Ashley, one of the designers of God of War 1, that he loved the game. Well, here's a guy that maybe for a day we gave a little bit of a break to. We gave a little bit of a respite to from the shit he was dealing with, and that allowed him, one of the many things that allowed him to maybe write a good joke or perform great at night. And somebody saw that and felt good and decided to, on and on and on and on. And so the idea that I don't have to be remembered, but I know that I have laid my bricks for humanity, in that I have given them something to hopefully use with the team. It's not never all me, I promise, to advance and keep going. I love that. That's an incredibly satisfying feeling. But I'm not looking to be anything other than that, So, but these guys haven't done shit, so fuck them. That I know it's not Chris, but I can't find him. I don't know what to tell you. If somebody wants to send me a link to what you're talking about, I'll take a look at it. Okay. Let's see. Gaming journalists will literally be forgotten the next board. I mean, yeah, gaming journalists, not all of them, but a lot of them are fucking idiots. I hear you, Mr. Pancakes, at Chris Argun, but it's not coming up, man. It is not coming up. Maybe this. If we do Twitter. All right, there we go. So let's see what Christopher is saying these days. Oh my God, look at that lady. They put a deceased grandma in resin and use her as a coffee table. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. It's cool, though. Chris says, Jaffe's really just talking about writers trying too hard to project growth onto characters initially intended to be static, and I kind of agree. I like Kratos, but they tried a similar thing with Master Chief, and it really doesn't work. Sometimes it's okay to let a Goku be a Goku. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that, buddy. All right. He's blocked. He's not blocked at all. Oh no. DevKit wrote me, who the mom I was trying to get with. I wasn't really, but Jaffe, my mom is scared to be interviewed because she thinks you're going to make fun of her because she has multiple personality disorder. I don't make fun of that at all. I think it's probably very difficult, and I think it's fascinating. Also, she's really religious. So, I mean, that's fascinating. It's like, are all of her personalities religious? That's interesting. Or is one of them just like totally agnostic, totally atheist? I would totally want to have a conversation like that. That sounds really cool. Sounds really cool. Where did that thing go? Here we go. Let me get this super chat. I appreciate it, buddy. Make sure I didn't miss that one. Okay. This is coming at us from good Sir D-Trucks. Thank you, buddy. He says, you should invite John Romero and talk boomer shooters. I had John on last year. We did a nice interview. It was a great deal of fun. And I don't, I want to wait maybe till his new thing comes out, not Sigil 2, which just dropped, by the way. But maybe down the road, that'd be fun. He's a good dude to talk to. I'd love to talk to Brenda. We've been trying to get her on, and then a bunch of shit happened, and we haven't been able to reschedule. But again, that's the show. But listen, tomorrow, 2:30 or 2, I got to check. I'll post something tonight. Adam Sessler's coming on. He and I are going to talk about his new Substack, his new newsletter, he's back into writing about games. We're obviously going to talk about sort of his relationships, such as they are with the internet and Twitter. And then, of course, we're just going to kick the news around and talk about what is happening in the world of games. So there you go, my good friends. I appreciate you spending time. Thank you to all the super chats. Thank you to the new members. Thank you to the old members, of course, and the mods. And the great calls. I really enjoyed talking with you guys tonight. We'll do Call in Chaos again. We'll probably kind of... Oh, hang on, Mute Mo. I got to talk to you about that. We'll do Call in Chaos when there's a big, good, meaty topic. I don't want to make it a regular thing because sometimes there's not much to talk about. I'd rather just do a Gabbing and Games. But we will do it when there's a big topic. And, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, listen to me. Mutant Mo says, I'm about to play Dusk for the first time. Let me tell you something, Linda. Dusk HD is the one you should play. I have always loved Dusk from day one. But the HD version came out recently. It is, not only does it look pretty good, I mean, it still looks like a boomer shooter, but it's high res and new models and shit like that. But it is so fluid and so fast and so fun. Man, it's great. If you haven't played Dusk, you can get it on Steam. I don't think the HD version's on console yet, but it's a wonderful shooter. It's just excellent. So, all right, fellas, thank you guys. And Jojo D, of course, thank you for all the support. Thank you so much for all the memberships tonight. I appreciate that. Cosmic Bandito, you goddamn right. Hug your loved ones and let them know you love them. You have to. Life's short, and it's chaotic, and it's cruel, and you goddamn right. All right, be well, fellas. Here is our good friend Alexi Plox playing some Twisted Metal. See you guys. I didn't block you, Metal Floss.